All right, we are live. So this is an interview you
Wait,
guys
wait, wait,
requested. Sorry,
wait.
we are live on my channel already. So just
Okay.
whatever. You have to go live a little bit later on yours. Is fine. But yeah, so this is an interview you guys requested.
Yeah, go ahead.
Face and LMS. So here he is. We can see his avatar. So let's start with a question I think people are going to be wondering is you mentioned to me in the emails that black pillars often want to stay anonymous. Can you kind of explain to me,
Yeah.
can you explain to the audience why that is?
Because basically we're seen as toxic. We're seen as woman hating, basement dwelling, factless, no hopers, nobodies who are, in fact, nowadays we're seen as terrorists. Like there have been like various terror attacks done in the name of incelibates or black pillars, and so that has tarnished all of us. And so yeah, that's why it's career suicide if you are seen as associated with black pillars.
So basically, it's to protect your job. Like you don't want to risk losing your job or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, someone's saying there's an echo, so let me just make sure. If you speak, I think that may go away now. Yes, yeah, basically. So try not to risk losing your career.
Okay, gotcha. So let's start off with this because this is something that people sometimes accuse me of is getting confused the difference between the red pill, the black pill, the blue pill, whatever. So what is the black pill?
The black pill is genetic and biological or understanding and recognition of biological determinism. Someone's saying there's echoing, so I'm just making sure the echo. I think I may have fixed it. It's still, the echo is still there. No, but the echo fixed now. Okay.
Guys, let us know in the comments if you can. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but let us know in the comments if you can hear us and hear this whole thing. So, yeah, let us know if there's any echo on the PWF stream because we're simultaneously streaming this.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So yeah, biological echo chamber cell. So I'm wondering if they're still hearing echoes. Echo is gone now. Thank you, Christian. Right, let's go. Genetic determinism or biological determinism. It's an understanding that a lot of your potential in dating and in other aspects of life are determined by factors outside of your control, such as your looks, your face, your height, hair, your IQ, your physical health, your body type, your all kinds of stuff that outside of your control. It's not to say that you shouldn't try regardless of those things, but there's an understanding that if you're going at some point, you're going to be limited by your genetics.
Okay, so do you believe that? Oh, actually, let me ask you this question. So, what's the difference between the black pill and the red pill?
The red pill. The red pill is. I think the paradigm is that you can change, or life isn't fair, but you make it unfair to your advantage, or that kind of thing. You lift enough weight, study enough in your chosen field, and everything should work out just because you've actually tried. Whereas the black pill is much more realistic. It says that you try, but understand that you're going to be limited, and when you hit those limits, it's not your fault.
Do you believe that game doesn't exist?
See, you're speaking to someone who is probably the most middle grounded black pillar you would meet, because I studied game for a while. I think game does exist, but it's overblown in like the red pill is overblow its reach, its ability to make you attractive. And I from what I've experienced, is this guest a Chad voiced incel? You could look at him on his channel. It's Alex, by the way, PWF, playing with fire. So yeah, sorry, I'm so distracted. Yeah, sorry. The black pill doesn't. The black pill does encourage that you try. I think that's one of the misconceptions, that once the black pill means that if you're not a Chad, if you're not extremely good looking, just give up and never try. No, it's an understanding that your results are going to be limited, and it's okay to stop trying once it's been proven that your results have hit a wall. And I want to add another thing, that when the black pill being genetically deterministic, it focuses, it does encourage some growth and improvement of your attractiveness, but the improvements that it discusses are ones that look genetic, ones that have the impression that you were there inborn. So, for instance, if you have like a receded chin, a black pillar or black pill tenant would be that you get jaw surgery, so that or some kind of lower jaw surgery, so that your chin looks more masculine and more optimally grown. And this isn't like this. Of course, having surgery isn't. You're not displaying an inborn trait, but it is perceived as an inborn trait. So that's where the black pill is kind of in opposition to the red pill, which would just say lift weights and wear good clothes, and then that should make you attractive.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, so basically you're saying the black pill is a little bit of like a spectrum. And on one end, you have the guys who really don't believe in game, who think it's just predetermined based on your look, and game is just, a fantasy land. And then you have like the more moderate black pillars who say that game exists, but it's overblown, and that a large part of your results is going to be determined by looks, and game can help a little bit. Is that a correct understanding of the community?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it. Okay. So where does money and status play into all this?
Money and status, that was kind of a relic from when the black pill was first conceived. So it's a holdover from when the black pill was actually called the red pill when it first came out. And there was an understanding that looks aren't responsible for every type of attraction that men can generate, but when there is a non-looks based attraction, there's usually some money or status at play. So it's a recognition that looks aren't everything, but they're the most important factor in attracting a woman. And then money and status would be the next biggest factors. But as we go through time, money and status are playing an increasingly diminishingly smaller part in attracting women, because women have their own money, like OnlyFans. They have their own status through Twitch, or through just being women. Just being a woman affords a woman a lot of status. Like, a woman goes into a gym, like, everyone's looking at her, everyone would take her out on a date. Like, a woman has inherent status, so you have to come with like bucket loads of status if you want to match her. So we've kind of deprecated the money and status aspect of attraction in the black pill, but it's still an important factor, and it still explains some of the interactions we see between men and women, and date pairings we see.
I see. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to initially start off on all the things we agree with, because there's definitely some things that you and I agree on, and some things we disagree on. But I do want to comment on this. So I would say I definitely disagree with the premise that money and status are becoming less important. I would say they're becoming more important. Like you see cloud chasing, cloud was never a thing up like 10, 20 years ago. Now it's a huge currency in of itself. It's not even money is not even the biggest currency on social media anymore. It's cloud. So you have like all this insane levels of cloud chasing. Like that's why, really famous guys who are ugly as fuck can still destroy the average guy. Like even if the average guy is significantly better looking, if they have, fame or status. Like there's this old saying that men line up for women and women line up for famous guys, which is, quite true. Again, like I'm not famous by any stretch, but I do know some people who have, I would say, more status, have some level of status, and I've seen the way it affects their results, and it's fucking mind blowing how just a little bit of status it's like fucking throwing gasoline on a fire. It really does play a big role. So I would say that you and I would disagree on that, but let's take that aside. Let's focus on. I want to start off by focusing on the things
I think that the status that is needed to attract a woman is bigger than it was, say, 20 years ago. Because, I think we kind of maybe agree then. The status, maybe in like the year 2000, having status would be like being a jock in your high school. But today, you would need to be like viral on Snapchat and that kind of thing. So the amount of status for you to impress a woman today, I would say, has grown. So I'm not saying that status has lost its place or its importance, but status now would it's harder to achieve because everyone's trying to get status. Everyone's trying to stand out from the crowd to attract women through status. So
so that you and I might actually be in agreement then. So I would generally agree with that premise that the amount of status, it's a little bit harder to get. I don't want to say harder. It requires a little bit more because, just being the jock at the high school is not as cool as being the TikToker with 2 million followers or whatever. At least not to some girls.
Exactly.
Okay. Kind of one thing I want to comment on that though is what I've noticed is another thing. Is status can be very, I guess, dependent on the situation. So, for example, you have a club owner, right? In that club, he has a lot of status. He might be fat, he might be balding, but in my environment, he has a lot of status. He goes to a different city, he has no status. So status also definitely varies. It's not like looks, which is more inherent. Looks can vary too because different cultures find different things attractive, but they fluctuate a lot less than status does. But okay, so let's start off by focusing on some of the of the agreements. So I also very much agree that LMS, face and looks and money status matter. A big thing I teach though is that you should always try to optimize your. I just call it something different. I call it sexual market value. You call it face and LMS, but it's really we're just talking about two of the same things.
We have the same,
yeah.
So I
teach sexual market value matters. I teach that you should optimize it. I also heavily believe that game matters. I see them as two sides of the same coin. So, game is important. Sexual market value is important. You should try to optimize both and keep optimizing as much as you can. But let's start with this. So, how do you think? How would you say you should how does? I'm kind of my thoughts are also a little bit all over the place today. But how do you calculate sexual market value for a man? Because I know you've done some research on this, which is actually pretty interesting, some of the stuff you've done. I don't know if I fully agree with the research, but it's definitely interesting to say the least. What have you found to be is like the calculation of sexual market value?
A masculine, attractive face. So that plus height, hair, good skin, that would if you look at, I don't know if you can see my screen. I might share my screen quickly. I'm speaking to Alex on a different platform today. So I'm speaking to him through StreamYard. So he's not seeing my screen. So if I share my screen quickly, share screen. Let me share a window. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Screen.
So
There we
if
go.
you look at what we're seeing on screen right now, I don't know if it's going to take a while to come through to you. Yeah, you can see that now. The man on the right would be a typical example of high attractiveness. I'm going to get to super chat soon. An example of attractiveness, high attractiveness. A man who wouldn't struggle with dating. And so, if you look at this, I wanted to ask you a question. Yeah, the red pill implies equality, so which the black pill does not. My
Well, can you
question to
expand
you:
on that? What is that? What does that mean?
the red. Oh, yeah, I'll expand on that. Would you teach all of these men the same game techniques and to approach the same kind of women? The men you see here, would the game you give to the deformed guy on the left, the far left, would it be the same game that you teach the average looking guy in the middle and the attractive guy
No,
on the
definitely,
right?
100% no. Because the guy, like, also, it's kind of. I'm not a big fan of looking at extreme examples. Like the guy all the way on the left is a very extreme example. Like I hate to say it, but that guy is like low key fuck. Like that guy needs to make a shitload of money and get a shitload of status and go on seeking arrangement and bang sugar babies. Like that guy is not going to crush it a cold approach. And I've always been pretty upfront about that. But that's an extreme example. That's like less than 1%.
Okay, let's take the second guy then. The second guy.
Okay, yeah. So that's a more realistic thing. So the second guy to the left, to the guy on the right, I would not teach them the same approach because the guy on the left is going to have to put in a lot more effort to get the same results as the guy on all the way to the right. And if the guy all the way on the right is putting in as much effort as the guy on the left, then something's going to seem off to these girls. Like they're going to be like, "What does this guy have a small dick?" It's like okay, you go to the dealership and you see a car that's a really fucking good deal. You're like, wow, this is a steal. But then if the salesperson really starts trying to sell it to you, you're going to think something is shady and you might not buy the car. It's the same principle here. Like that guy obviously is going to have to put in a lot less effort than the guy on the left. So yeah, 100%. I would not teach them the same approach.
My problem with that is that you said that they're going to have to put in, you said something like they're going to have to put in, the guy on the left is going to have to put in more work. You seem to come from this misconception that him putting in more work would garner results. You haven't, I don't think you acknowledge that someone like him might not get a woman.
Oh, 100%. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, he definitely might not. Now, of course, there's a huge element of luck and randomness to this whole thing, but he definitely has a lower chance of getting the same caliber woman as the guy all the way on the right. But I think this is where
Are you serious? The same caliber of women? You think the second guy and the fifth guy can get the same caliber of women?
I said they would not. He has a lower chance of getting the same caliber of women as the guy on the right. Yeah, 100%. This is where I would say I would differentiate with the black pill community. I think, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, because this is a community I'm not that familiar with, but I think the black pill community would say if you're a second guy on the left, then you should just kind of settle and not really try and just, it is what it is, man. You have below average genetics and you're never going to do as good as the guy on the right. What I would say is you're not going to do as good as the guy on the right. It is what it is, but you can't change your luck in life. But I would say still maximize your sexual market value as much as possible. Go to the gym, get jacked as fuck, optimize your face within reason. I don't know if I would go down the whole, operation thing unless there's a major deformity or something like that. But I would say try to do everything within your power. If you're bald, and get a hair transplant. If whatever. Like if you look like a bitch, get some tattoos, get some muscles 100% of the time. So I would tell the guy to maximize everything he can, learn game as much as he can, and put himself in situations where he can maximize his success. Just because he can't get the same caliber as women as the guy on the right does not mean he should not try. Because then what the fuck is he left with? He's just going to jerk off for the rest of his life and complain. So that's where I would differentiate with the black pill community.
So the problem I have with game is that although I think it does exist, what game is essentially saying is that knowing the right words and saying them at the right time can build upon like attraction that isn't there. Like if a woman is not attracted to you, if she finds your face repulsive, I don't. There is no way that you can say the right words to turn that into sexual attraction.
So if a woman finds your face repulsive, no, it's extremely unlikely. If she finds your face just not attractive, she's not attracted to it, but she doesn't find it repulsive, right? Again, repulsive is an extreme emotion. Repulsive is going to be the shit that the guy all the way on the left is going to get. But an average guy or a slightly below average guy, he could just get indifference. Yeah, this guy's not really my type, but he's not repulsive. That guy.
Okay, if you look. But if you look at the chart above this is a chart from OkCupid where women determined that 80% of men are below average. So women have a harsh criteria when it comes to determining the physical attractiveness of a male. So you're coming from.
Can you explain this, Trump? Sorry, go. Can you explain this? Yeah.
Okay, women rated men, okay, and 80% of the men that the women rated were below average attractiveness. They rated more men least attractive than more attractive. So your idea that women can find you just average looking and be okay with it. No, women want, or should I say, women's determination of where attractiveness starts is above 50%, above like a halfway line. It's above the average 5 out of 10. Women determine that you're attractive starting from like 6.5 to 7. That's when you become attractive to women.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that. The problem with this data is that it's taken from OkCupid. So girls who are in online dating are going to be necessarily more looks focused than girls in day-to-day life who are not on online dating. That's not to say that girls who hang out at Starbucks are not looks focused. They are, but attraction is not just as simple as this guy has a pretty face, I'm attracted to him. Like that can be the way it works.
Yes,
there's a lot more to it, and I can quote countless examples. Like for example, my mom and my dad.
Yeah,
My mom was right, but anecdotes exist for a reason. Like for example, let's take my parents, right? Like my mom was a model back in Russia, very attractive. My dad was not attractive at all. Like I can pull up pictures of him, whatever. He's not attractive. I came somewhere in the middle. I'm probably above average looking. So the story of how my parents met was my mom was initially not interested in my dad, but he was like so persistent. And he had a good amount of status at the university because he had his own business in that time. That was pretty rare. That eventually she kind of fell in love with my dad, right? So it's like kind of like that type of thing. So, but she didn't find him repugnant. She just wasn't attracted to him. So there's plenty of anecdotes of guys who are below average looking being with attractive women. That's not to say it's the norm. That's not to say that you're going to have the same success rate. No, but it does happen all the time.
So your anecdote is from, I'm guessing, like maybe 30 years ago in a country where women didn't have as much access to men as they do now. So the thing about the red pill is that it comes with these anecdotes and these.
Okay, so let me ask this question though:
ideas that it's outdated? The red pill is pretty much outdated. Your pickup art hasn't changed much since Mystery Method. Okay, it's gotten less gamey and less gimmicky, but essentially nothing has changed in game since Mystery Method, since RST.
So hang on. Let's just back up here because there's a lot to unpack. I don't mean to interrupt you. Right. I just want to unpack each one of these because these are separate points. So you made the argument that that my analogy is no longer applicable because it was 30 years ago. Okay, fine.
30 years ago and country. And different women under different.
Okay, I live in Miami in 2021 right now, right? I'm not living in the past. I see women all the time. Like in Miami, we have a lot of like fucking hot ass chicks with below average guys. Now we also see hot chicks with hot guys, but I also all the time, man. And anyone who lives in Miami can see this. And I'm sure I don't want to give away your location, but I'm sure in the city that you live in, you see this quite often as well. I would be surprised if you don't. hot women with men who are lower sexual market value than them. Like, it still happens today all the time. Now, does that guy have a lot of money? Probably. Does that guy have a lot of status? Probably. But in terms of looks, there's a lot of discrepancy in relationships. There's also a lot of situations where the guy is better looking than the girl. But it's not always like, I feel like you guys make it sound like it never happens, or very, very, very extremely rarely, like once in a blue moon happens that a average guy is with a good looking girl. That shit happens quite often.
Not, I mean, we can't really quantify how often it happens, but when you see these situations of a woman dating a guy below her looks level, often you will find that those are the situations in which women cheat or propose an open relationship. These are the
what is that based on though? I've had clients who are way more attractive than their girlfriend who cheated on them. Like, what is that information based on? I'm not necessarily even saying it's false, but what data is like that if the girl is more attractive than the guy, she's more likely to cheat? Like, where does that information come from? Like, I see girls who are way uglier than the guy cheating all the time too. So I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, but some women feel that, I mean, women are bombarded by offers all the time. I think we can agree that women are bombarded.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah.
And if the offer they get, it's going to be tempting not to take a man up on that offer if the offer is better than what they have. So you're saying that the woman the opportunity for women to cheat is far more greater than it was 10, 20 years ago. So sure. Even in those situations where you see an ugly guy with an average looking girl or something, or a guy with a girl who's better looking than him, often those relationships are hanging in the balance where the woman has the option to cheat, or she's flirting with the idea of cheating, or she has a backup, she's still on Tinder. So we see those relationships as quite fragile. And even if she doesn't take the opportunity to cheat, it's still a fragile relationship. It's still not a solid basis for a relationship.
Bro, any girl above a 3 has a shitload of options to cheat. I agree with the premise that women are inundated with options. I agree with that. But it's not only hot chicks. It's literally any girl who's not grossly obese. And even some of the grossly obese girls are fucking have too many options. So any girl, I quite often, I have girls who I hook up with, and they quite often say you should make content for women. It's so hard for women too. And I say, I can get any one of your friends who's not grossly obese 100 dicks in 24 hours, right? Like, if we make a Tinder. So yeah, any girl has a shitload of options. Now, the question whether your girl is going to cheat or not heavily is based on two things. One, her character and her level of loyalty, her values. That's a huge factor. And one, how happy she's in the relationship. Those are the two factors. Now, I don't think there's any data to suggest that her being better looking than her partner is gonna, imply that she's gonna cheat on the relationship. I just think that's like heavily anecdotal experiences.
It opens her up to more options. There are a better quality of men that are vying for her attention. Obviously, if a woman's, a 3, she has options. But if a woman is like a 5, if a woman's a 5 and dating a 3, she's going to have all of the men up and down the spectrum who want to date her and take her off that man's hands. And so, yeah, we're just in a situation. The Blackpill is aware of the dating market as it is currently. With the red pill, there seems to be this understanding that if you just keep the right game and you hold frame and you say the right words, you can keep a woman and she won't leave you for better. But the Blackpill is aware that there is constantly better guys out there. Even if you do get a girlfriend, she's being bombarded by guys who are better looking than you. So right. You kind of have to be the best looking guy she can get to make sure, or to give you the biggest surety that she won't cheat. You still can't confirm it. You still can't.
But the problem with the premise is that implies that women cheat only because, or primarily because, there's a better looking option, which is not really true. That it might be the reason some women cheat, but quite often women cheat because they're missing something in the relationship that they have. So either they feel like their sexual needs are not being met, their emotional needs are not being met, their intellectual needs are not being met, or the other reason they cheat is because they're pieces of shit, again, and they would have cheated on any guy, even the good-looking guys. So I have clients who are extremely good-looking who've been cheated on, right? I have clients who are bad-looking but cheated on. Like, so a lot of it just has to do, again, so I just disagree with the premise that women primarily cheat because of, there's a better looking option. That's the reason some women cheat, but not the majority of the time. And I think if you were to poll women who cheated, they would give you two main reasons. One, I wasn't happy for this and that reason. Two, I'm just a broken girl. Like, my daddy abused me. I'm a broken girl and I just like drama, right? Those are going to be the two main reasons that women cheat.
Okay, what would you say about this picture here? We have a picture of a man who has had surgery. On the left, he has a receded jaw. On the right, he's had lower jaw surgery to make his jaw more prominent, more wide, more masculine. My question to you is, doesn't this have way more impact on his attractiveness than the guy on the left just having better conversation or saying better words to a woman, having better body language?
Well, so is the question which one is going to be more important, the guy's game or his looks?
Yeah. No, okay. I'm saying which do you think would have the most impact? The guy on the left converting to the guy on the right, which he's done, or the guy on the left just having better game, just saying more attractive words?
But okay, so I'm going to answer your question. I don't mean to divert from the question, but why not do both?
Yeah, okay, that's fine. But you have to admit that the impact of
it just depends. So the guy, for example, the guy made himself, let's say, what would you rate the guy on the left? SMB. His SMB is a 5. He made himself like a 7.58, right? Whatever. I don't know. I'm not a gay guy, but I would say something like that. So he made himself 2 points more attractive.
You don't have to be gay to recognize attractiveness. So I'd say the guy on the left, probably somewhere near a 4 at best. On the right, I would say he's like possibly 7.5 ish, something like that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's kind of subjective, but yeah, he made himself 2 points. Two or three points more attractive. Yeah. So
you would agree that the impact of his surgery his surgery has had more impact on his overall attractiveness than if he had just stayed the same and bought like a boot camp, gone on a boot camp, or studied more words to say in a different way as game dictates.
So I think that you have maybe a warped definition of what game is. Game is not saying just fancy words. Game, a lot of it is how you carry yourself and your level of confidence, your level of charisma, and your ability to strategically attract a woman. So, for example, like let's say a woman is down to get fucked at the moment. A guy who might not know game, he would just sit around and dilly-daddle, and then the girl would lose attraction and eventually move on. The guy who knows game would escalate. If the girl, for example, has a smoke screen or a concern or objection, the guy who knows game would be able to deal with it and overcome it. The guy who doesn't might be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I understand that it's you have to hang out with your friends tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. It really just comes down to go back to your question, it really comes back down to what was the guy's game like before this. Like, let's say his game was call it a level 5, and if with the boot camp it got him to a 6 or 7, then yeah, the surgery is probably gonna have more effect. Let's say he had horrible social skills and he could not interact with girls, and I don't think a boot camp is going to fix all that at all. But let's say he spent a year learning game and practicing, and he got really good social skills, then I would say the social skills is going to have probably more difference. So it just really depends how bad his game was. Like we're saying, this guy went 2 points or 3 points in his sexual market value. How many points did he increase in his game? Was it 2 or 3 points? Or was it 1 point? Was it 5 points? Like, again, so it just comes down to, it's not like as black and white as that. It comes down to like the subtleties.
Women are going to give the guy on the right more of a pass. So if he says something a bit awkward, if his game isn't, or if his social skills, let's call it that, if his social skills aren't quite refined, he's going to get much more of a pass than if he had stayed the same on the left. Sure. So the extent
but if a guy has horrible social skills and can't communicate with a girl and is awkward and fidgety and timid and is not masculine and confident and not dominant, then he's not going to get laid, even with his, good-looking face. Or so, at least very rarely. He's only going to get laid when the girl does the work for him.
Like you said, you didn't want to talk about absolute extremes. So the average guy doesn't have, isn't a fidgety, hunched shoulder, timid wreck of a person. The average guy has some decent social skills, some ability to speak to a woman. Maybe not the best conversation. Maybe he is a bit nervous, but you seem to want to paint game as in it brings you from being like everyone, like every man starts off as like socially awkward, but then game makes them more attractive. But most men are kind of equipped to speak in normal situations anyway, like maybe not at the best, maybe not showing their best, but their social skills are quite average usually. So by definition, their skills are social average. So I think you're kind of manning a bit. I think I kind of resort into this idea of the men are lost and can't speak to women without the game. When men speak to women without game, they're able to do it. It's just that they get rejected because they're not attractive. The woman doesn't find them attractive. This guy on the right, if he has average game, average social skills, he'll get some women. Maybe not the best of the women because his ethnicity, but that's a different subject. But let's just on that basis, I think you can conclude that this looks maxing, this improvement to his looks is more impactful than any uptick or improvement any social skills could bring.
Again, depends how bad his social skills were beforehand. If they were pretty average, then yeah, I would probably say you're correct. I wouldn't disagree with that. My argument would be, why not do both? Why not improve your looks and improve your game, which is something I've always taught. I mean, going back to the argument you made earlier, I can just cite what you're saying, that most guys have some decent social skills. I mean, I can cite myself as an example. Like, I didn't lose my virginity until I was 19. At this point, I've been with 300, 400 girls, right? Why, my looks, I started hitting the gym when I got older. I grew out facial hair, I got tattoos. Maybe I increased my sexual market value by, 2 points, right? But I didn't increase it by 5 points since I was, 19 and now 31. But I definitely increased my game because most of my life I could not get girls, because I was socially awkward, right? Like, I didn't know how to communicate with girls. I didn't know what girls were attracted to. I had so many situations where I was on a date with a girl or I was out with a girl. And I just couldn't pick up on the fact that she was interested in me and I wouldn't make a move. Like, so many situations like that. So I don't know if most guys start out with average social skills. I've seen a lot of my clients who have below average social skills, but then again, maybe that's why they're attracted to, the pickup community or whatever, the red pill community or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I don't know about that premise that most guys start off with pretty decent social skills. I think that especially with the way things are going nowadays, with everyone being on their phone and on their computer, I think most people are actually really fucking socially awkward. Quite often, most people, I think, especially I think that's the way it's moving to. I think back in the past, before you had modern technology, you were kind of forced to be social, so people had social skills. But I think our parents' generation had better social skills than ours, and ours will have better social skills than our kids' generation. So I don't know about that, but okay, that's kind of splitting hairs.
Let me just read some super chats from people. Hold on a sec.
Let's go through the super chats,
Right.
and then there's a few questions I want to ask you because we kind of turned this interview around, which is fine. I think it was an interesting debate. But let's, after the super chats, let's get to some questions I want to ask.
From Kinawi, $5 US. Please ask I'm guessing your guest, if he is aware that he is pretty good looking and that has a massive impact on his dating life. Yeah, again, you said that you're above average. I would say you're average.
I'm not retarded.
And plus, you're white, you're tall. How tall are you? Like 6'1"?
I'm 5'11".
5'11". You're okay. You can get away with 6 foot. So, and don't you pick up a lot of women in Colombia?
No. I've been to Colombia 3 times. The most I've ever stayed there is for a few months. For a few weeks. I live in Miami, and that's where I've been for the last 4 years. So no. I mostly 95% of the girls I've hooked up with have been in America, and mainly in the cities of Austin, Miami, and Los Angeles. And Boston, I guess. So pretty competitive big cities.
Do you think that your own looks being average has kind of informed your opinion on what everyone else should be able to achieve?
Yeah, so you're asking me if I have a bias because of my own looks.
Yes.
It's definitely a possibility. However, I try to be pretty conscious and aware. Like, as you know, I have a pretty big channel, have a lot of clients and stuff like that. And believe me, like, a lot of my clients are worse looking than me. Like, just take my business partner, Indian P. Are you familiar with him? Like, have you seen him on my channel at all? The Indian guy?
I saw a video of him. Yeah. I would agree that he was balding. He's an Indian guy. He was balding, shaving his hair and growing a beard was an improvement, but
he's still below 5.
He's still below a 5. And the woman I saw draped over him in an interview on your channel, she was like a Russian woman. I'm a bit suspicious of her over flirtiness with him. It seems a bit disingenuous to me, like she's after something. I really didn't sit well with me that she was draped over him in a bra. Like, it seemed like she had something to gain.
I'll explain that. She was kind of drunk, and it was her first video that she's ever done. And she didn't know how to act on camera. Like, a lot of people, when I bring them on camera, they don't know how to act, so they overdo it, they over exaggerate. And girls are guilty of this probably even more than guys. So that's all that had to do. She actually was a mom who is actually super busy, and he actually never wanted
a single mom.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Indian guy, sorry, just confirming, the Indian guy got a single mom.
Right, but the point I'm trying to make is that's one girl. You know, for every girl that comes on our channel, there's 20 girls who don't. So he's been, and I live with him, so I know for a fact, you know, what he gets, what he doesn't get. He's been with about 150 women, right? He lost his virginity when he was 27, so he's like 30 now. So he's been getting laid for about 3 years. Right, so he's been with 150 women in those 3 years. 50 women per year. 150 women in about 3 years. Again, like, this ballpark.
No, as I'm saying, he's bedded 50 women per year.
50 women a year, right? But that guy's below average. But I've seen some of the girls he fucked, and some of them.
Do you believe this, or like, have you seen proof of this, or is it?
Yeah, I live with him. I've seen him. I've seen them walking out in the middle of the night.
Are these like? What kind of quality of women? If put it this way, someone who's banging 50 women a year, it seems weird that they have to settle for a single mom.
But he didn't settle for her. He banged her once, and she was over. Okay, so this is what happened that day, because I was there. He banged her. She came out, and I'm Russian. She spoke Russian. I was speaking Russian to her, and we thought it would be cool if we get her on the channel because we needed to shoot a video for that day. That's really what happened. So he didn't settle for her. He saw her literally once. That's what I'm saying. So he's not with her. They're not together. He banged her once. She came on our channel that night, and that was the extent of like his association with her. Now, to go back to it, if me and him go out, who's going to have to talk to more girls to get laid? Him, of course. I'm not denying that. Like, I'm gonna have an easier time. I'm white and I'm better looking. But does that mean he can't get attractive girls? No, he's just gonna have to put in more work. But he's not an extreme example. He's not like deformed or something like that. So again, if he was deformed, that might be a different story. Actually, not might, it would.
Let me keep going with the super chats. Man's Redemption $4.99 US. Support our Blackpill brethren. Kevin Samuels gets mad money for non-truth at least. Give truth tellers the funding to reach Blackpill critical mass. Okay, thank you, man.
Is Kevin Samuels actually Blackpill? I never got that vibe from him at all.
I think he is. You could call it maroon pilled, so he's like somewhere between red and black pill. OK drummer guy 89 for $1 US said $1 US 99 said looks determined if she thinks she can use you. The Bitburg Slim for $20 US said Beta Bucks Deluxe. I think that's referring to possibly to the Indian guy, or I don't know. Sam Aponte US dollars 19.99 said game only works if you meet a woman's minimum attractiveness standards. Biological determinism trumps game. Yeah, that's something I wanted to say a bit earlier, that if you are woman's threshold of attractiveness, if you're just on the cusp, then game can help. It can give her a reason to speak to you. But I think you would agree that if you're far enough out of a woman's threshold of physical attractiveness, there isn't much you can say. In the majority of cases, there isn't much you can say, or there isn't a body language
I would agree with that. Yeah.
You can display that would make her attracted to you. Okay, sure. So I think you've kind of given enough ground that you're starting to sound a little bit more reasonable, at least in this one point.
What do you mean, man? I feel like I'm the epitome of reason. Like, I feel like very few people who have like my type of channel would bring on someone who's in the Blackpill community and have a reasonable discussion with them, and not like just dismiss what they're saying out of hand. Like, so I don't know about that. I don't categorize myself as a pickup artist or red pill or any of that nonsense. I just say what I think is true based on the experiences of myself and the things I've seen in my life. That's as simple as that. So there we go.
Looks do matter because I am dating a 21-year-old. I am 54, but have a full set of hair, not overweight, all my teeth. If I was 100 pounds heavier and bald, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, agreed. Of course. No one is denying that at all.
I think this may be a troll. 54 years old. I think this may be a troll. I'm not sure if that doesn't make. I mean, Jeremiah, if you want to add me on Discord and show some proof, I'm open to proof. The Bitburg Slim $20 says, as a beta box, I took the green pill. Archon P91 5 Canadian said, today on BPV, generic pickup coach spouting the same red pill cope that we've been hearing since 2005. Flush.
Okay. Once again, not red pill at all. Never aligned with the red pill community one bit. Not a generic pickup coach. Don't even consider myself a pickup coach. So I disagree with that categorization hardcore, but okay.
So would you say dating coach then?
Sure, if that's what you want to call it. Yeah, if I had to categorize myself, sex and dating coach, whatever, YouTuber, I don't fucking know.
Arcus $2. Do you have Paul Mooney on this stream? I have no idea who that is. Blue Cheese No Fleas 5 GBP said, if you had to pick a hot girl in her 30s versus average girl in her 20s with a good heart and personality, who would you choose?
If I repeat the question, if you had
to pick a hot girl in her 30s versus an average girl in her 20s with a good heart and personality, who would you choose?
Are we talking about to bang or to date?
Let's assume to date.
If I had to pick one, and I would pick the hot girl with a good personality. But if I had to, I would pick the girl with a good personality if I'm gonna date her, like seriously. But again, I wouldn't ever, because the only girls I date are girls who I find attractive who also have good personalities. I bang attractive girls with shitty personalities, but I don't date them.
Okay, King GQ for $4.99 USD said his confidence booster after surgery will play out in his social skills. Yeah, going back to that guy we had, the guy on screen. Yeah, his confidence will be organic he will have organic social skills. His social skills will grow as a result of the way women interact with him more positively. So, again, you can. It seems like you can you can you can avoid, for want of a better word, you could avoid game by just becoming more physically attractive, and then you don't actually need the game. His social skills will improve on account of his improved looks.
To some degree they will, but let me ask you this question: have you never seen an attractive guy who doesn't get laid?
Sometimes there's usually a mental issue there. There's usually like autism or
without experience. An attractive guy who doesn't get laid, who's not autistic, who we're not talking about extreme like mental issues. An attractive guy who doesn't get laid.
Then again, the guy, if you're talking like extremely hot, extremely attractive, no. But if you are referring to a guy who's like slightly above average with bad social skills who doesn't get laid, yeah, that does happen. But if a guy on this level of looks that we're looking at now, or even more attractive, I've never seen a guy like that struggles. They always have women coming up to them, then at least. Sure. And women are coming up to them, and so they will develop social skills organically through being able to speak to women and getting.
Right. It doesn't always play out that way. So I've had many, not many, but I have a decent amount of attractive clients who are, let's say, 7.5 and above. I don't know if they were perfect 10s, but I actually had one guy who's like, I would say at least a 9. I'm not going to dox him, but some of you guys might know who he is. Anyway, horrible with girls, like super low lay count, like 10, 20 for whatever, being 30 years old. Yes, a lot of hot girls would approach him. He would fuck it up the vast majority of the time. Only in those situations when the girl was super down to fuck him, like she just did not care about the fact that he was kind of awkward and self-defeating and didn't know game, would he get laid. When the girl would literally do all the work for him, which doesn't happen often, right? So yeah, the girls would come up to him, they would attract him, but as soon as he started talking, after a period of time, they would lose that attraction. So I've also seen cases like that quite often. So there's definitely, good-looking guys who don't get laid. Like I would say that I'm like a 6 or 7, something like that. 7, let's say. I get more girls than a lot of guys who are 8s and 9s, right? Simply because, again, they don't really know how to talk to girls. They don't really know game. They don't really know how to lead. They don't really know how to escalate. They don't really know how to run volume. They don't know how to make shit happen. I do, right? Again, it took me time to learn that. So, yeah, I just think that, yes, the guy that's better looking, he's going to get more indicators of interest. It's going to be easier for him to be confident than the guy who's not as good looking. But that doesn't mean by default that he is going to be confident, because I've seen plenty of evidence of the contrary.
Okay, let's take a look at this. This is a chart from Washington Post that shows young men driving the decline in sex. So share of men and women between ages 18 and 30. You'll see it probably delayed in about 20 seconds from now.
Yeah, no, we got it.
All right, you got it?
Yeah.
Young men driving the decline in sex. Share of men and women between ages 18 and 30 reporting no sex in the past year. This is from 2018, so it would have increased substantially since that point. 28% of men are not having sex. So from your narrative, you would have to believe that in 2008, men suddenly developed bad social skills.
No, I believe that a lot of guys are staying home and playing video games and living in a virtual world instead of going out and meeting girls. That's why.
So video games have existed since the 1970s. Okay, not every household had them.
Yeah, but they were not nearly as ridiculous as it is now. Like, you have to admit that the world has become way more virtual. Like, when I was growing up as a kid in like 2005, 2006, 2007, like, we would go outside and play. Like, kids nowadays don't do that, man. Like, very rarely. They sit home and they play on TikTok and they play video games and all that. So the culture has radically changed since I was a kid.
I would say there's some slight truth to what you're saying, but by the same token, the way men interact with women now is online, such that women will dismiss a man based on his looks. A man doesn't get to show game and confidence you said, like you said yourself.
Only that's if you participate in online dating. Like there's a lot of people
This isn't just online dating. You could stretch it to any form of online interaction, or Instagram, or talking to women on Facebook. Women get a perception of you from your looks now, like solely on your looks, because of they're looking at a picture on a screen, and this has fueled the rise in inceldom.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
Would you agree that this is more the rise in inceldom? It makes more sense that the rise in inceldom is a result of women interacting with women based on, you know, a sole picture of yourself, and your picture's either good enough for them or not, rather than video games and not being as social.
Is the question, why do I think there's a rise in incels?
No, the question is, don't you think that it's more attributable to women being pickier because they look at your face and determine if you're a yes or a no, rather than in more traditional times where you could at least present some aura, some in-person, what you would say, social skills or game?
I think I think it's a combination of factors. I'm not a sociologist. I don't know exactly how much each one attributes to each, but I would say a large portion of this is the culture has changed. Guys are going out less. Guys are staying home and jerking off to OnlyFans a lot more. Like the rise, just some of the things that have happened in the last 10 years heavily contributed to people becoming incels. Like I know so many people who don't actually have any real life friends. They have no one that they can go out with, like, was not the case when I was growing up. Like I have a lot of friends in my city who I go out with, but I know many clients who say the same thing over and over again. Yeah, but who should I go out with? I don't have any friends in my city. All my friends are virtual. So the world has radically changed in the last 10 years. So I don't know. And have women gotten pickier? I don't know if it's so much that, probably because they have more options now, because again, the Instagram has kind of changed the game. So whereas in the past, a woman was limited to the options she had in her like immediate life, like which was her university, her job, her friends, whatever. Now, basically, as long as she has an Instagram, she's open to all the guys in the world. So that has kind of changed the game a little bit. Have women gotten pickier? Yes. But has the culture changed also? Yes. I think it's a multifaceted issue. I don't think you can attribute it to like one thing, like, oh, women have gotten pickier. That's why there's more insults. So I think that's just like way too simplistic of a way to look at it. But let me kind of...
All right. So if you don't believe that, then let me move on. Let me show you this chart. This is how heterosexual couples have met. This is data from the 1940s up until 2020. So this is how couples meet. You'll see that meeting in a bar has oh, sorry. All right, let's go through this. Meeting through friends has gone down. It's taken a nosedive since 2000. Meeting through family, if I'm seeing this because it's quite distant from my screen, on my screen, that's gone down. Meeting through
I think that this all makes sense, man.
So
online dating has become way more popular.
The uptick, the skyrocketing of online dating and just online interaction in general has forced men into online dating. It seems like women don't want to interact with men unless it's women would prefer to interact with men online where they have control over the situation.
So let me this.
Left swipe, they can get rid of you. And when you meet someone online, what are you presenting of yourself first? Like initially, it's your face, and so this is partly responsible for the rise in inceldom.
Yes, it is partially responsible for the rise in inceldom. So I'm gonna give you that point. I never denied it. I want to disagree with the fact that most women want to meet guys online. Pretty much every woman I've ever talked to wants to meet a guy organically. Like women don't enjoy meeting guys online on average. They do it because they feel like they have no other option. And COVID has definitely changed the game because now there's the whole safety thing, blah, blah, blah. But that's a topic for, another day. So a lot of women, they would prefer to meet a guy the organic way. Like I would like a guy to come up to me at the coffee shop. I would like a guy to, do this or this. But they feel like, the only choice they have nowadays with the way the culture is online. So that's just, and I would love to see a poll of 1,000 women and saying, how would you like to meet a guy or whatever, and I guarantee you it's not going to be, oh, I would like to meet a guy online. So yes, more women than ever meeting guys online. That doesn't mean women prefer it. It is what it is, but it doesn't mean that women like it.
Okay, if you look at the men that women respond most favorably to in online dating, it's the most attractive men.
Of course.
So when women say to you, or you through your research, you hear that women want to meet men organically in a coffee shop, they're referring to good-looking men. So again, when you deny one aspect of the black pill, you're kind of forced into recognizing another aspect of the black pill, because it's just so pervasive and it's so encroaching.
I can agree with some of what you're saying. I can disagree with other aspects. It's not like, for example, black pill is 100% correct. Like, I can agree with some aspects of it and disagree with others. I don't have to agree with the whole thing. It's like a political candidate. I can agree with some of the things that Trump says and disagree with others, right? Like, people always like forcing, like, okay, you either like Trump or you don't like Trump. No, but you can like some of what he does and dislike others. Like, it's the same thing here. I can agree with some aspects of the black pill and disagree with other aspects of it.
Right. If we look at this, the black pill, undeniable now. What women want, it's all about the looks. This is not from anyone associated or affiliated with the black pill. In fact, most media outlets are opposed to the black pill and to incelibate talking points. So when they agree with us, it's reluctant or accidental. So anyway, what women want, it's all about the looks. This is an article from and this is from a journal. Like, this is republished from a journal. The general consensus that men go for looks while women prefer personality could well be a myth concocted by visually challenging. It doesn't finish that sentence. The general
sounds like a good piece of journalism. Who is this by?
This is by This is the Independent, I think. So
I've never heard of this publication. But okay, so where's the data gathered from?
Wait. Let me just read this. I'll go through this really quickly. The general consensus that men go for looks while women prefer personality could well be a myth concocted by visually challenging males, a new study suggests. While men are known to be shallow when it comes to finding a partner, women may not be as different as received wisdom suggests. Although women believe that they go for, this is key here, although women often believe they go for personality first, in reality, they are more likely to choose men who are physically attractive, no matter how respectful, friendly, ambitious, or intelligent the competition may be, the study suggests. So I think...
how is the study? But I mean, I can find shit on the internet that says that, fucking robots are going to take over the world, and there's a study that supports it. Well, actually, that could potentially happen. But how is this study gathered? Like, you have to kind of expand on the data here a little bit more.
Right. Women were shown.
Like the New York Times is like,
Women were shown pictures of I'm assuming unattractive, average, and attractive men, and these men were given different traits, different personality traits, and the women picked. It didn't matter how favorable the trait of the unattractive man was. Women still didn't like them. Now there was some.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I would make the argument that's I would make the argument that
there was some nuance with the average-looking guys. Personality did have a slight influence on women's attraction, but if you're unattractive physically to a woman, there is very little you can do to through personality to make herself attractive.
Okay, I would make the argument that's a very, very flawed way of gathering data, because you're asking women to take a visual test. And then on the visual test, of course, they're going to put visual things first. You can't feel your personality on a piece of paper which just says personality 10. What does that mean to her? She can't feel confidence 10. That doesn't mean shit. So on that test, of course, she's going to. So I would say that's a very flawed way of gathering data. But irregardless, I don't want to like kind of split hairs. Is there more like shit that you wanted to show me or more questions that you had? Because I do want to get.
Okay, all right then.
Because we kind of completely flipped this interview, which is fine. Okay. But we got to keep it breathing.
All right, the black pill is everywhere. So these were like two examples I just was able to grabbed together at the last moment. So this woman on Tinder, she says, not looking for hookups unless, of course, you're hot. Now, people will say, oh, why are you taking what a woman says at her word? You know, women say one thing and act a different way. But when women's behavior is aligned with the trend in dating that we see, then I think it's valid to take them at their word. When we see that women rate most men unattractive, when we see that women are more forgiving of attractive men than unattractive men, given the same personality traits, I think we can take take them at their word.
Yeah, so, I agree with that. Yeah. So I would not dispute this. I think that women will, for example, a woman who wants a relationship, she's looking for a relationship, she might make an exception for a really hot guy. 100%. That's not, I don't think that's up to dispute. So I would take this woman at her words in what she's saying. I'm looking for a relationship unless you're really hot. Not disputing that at all. I think we both agree that looks matter. I think what we disagree on is the extent to which they matter and how much game matters, right? But we both agree that looks play a crucial role in your ability to get girls.
Okay, how about this one? This is from a woman on Reddit. As a 5-foot woman, I'll say this. Anytime a guy is below 5'7", they immediately assume that they have a shot with you, and that can get annoying. Having 5'2" guys asking you out all of the time I can see why a woman would say this, referring to something that happened earlier. Right. Maybe they assume, I'm reading the next reply. Maybe they assumed you'd be able to empathize with them. Apparently, they were wrong. Another reply from another woman. So basically, short people aren't allowed to ask you out. And this may be from a man. You're 5 foot, love. Surely you don't need your own shack. And then this may be a woman. Oh yeah, this is definitely a woman. I'm 5'1", and you are so right. This happened to me all of the time when I was dating, and someone would get downright angry with me when I was not interested in them. Like it was expected, even if I liked nothing else about them, personality, looks, etc., that I must date them and I must like short men. My husband is 6'3". So these women find it offensive when ugly guys approach. This is something that pickup art or the red pill or game doesn't acknowledge, that where we've moved into a situation in the dating market where not merely does an ugly man approaching a woman just elicit like, okay, I don't like him, but it's actually offensive to women now, because women have such power in the dating market that it's seen as an insult when a guy thinks he has a chance with a woman. So far from game working, game approaching a woman now, if you don't have the right looks, can be offensive to a woman. It's not just a rejection now. You're actually causing offense to a woman.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of, okay. Yeah. So I'm not going to dispute that. So let's circle this back. So what is the solution? So we acknowledge, we more or less agree on the problem. We disagree on the severity of the problem and to the extent of the problem, but we agree that there's a problem, that game is a lot easier for good looking guys. What is the solution to anyone who's not a Chad, in your opinion, or in the Blackpill's opinion?
Improve your looks, which means primarily improve your looks above the neck. The red pill seems to be limited to gym, styling, good haircut.
Well, why not do both? Why not also hit the gym?
They're good. They're good things to do. But the best haircut in the world isn't going to make, I really don't know any celebrities, so I have to keep picking Danny DeVito. The best haircut in the world isn't going to make Danny DeVito look good. Of course, losing weight would help, but the black pill is cognizant of certain limitations that are just inherent in his biology, in his genetics, and so the black pill would if a man is blackpilled or becomes blackpilled, he would become aware that it may be the situation may be that he should give up. If he's tried enough, he may give up, or at least he should have the understanding that very few women, if not any, will be attracted to him. I don't think that you would turn a guy away from your pickup courses if he was too ugly.
Is that a question?
Yeah, would you turn an ugly guy away if a guy's too ugly? Would you say, look, the game isn't going to work for you, or would you be like, hey, well, put in 5,000 hours and let's see where you get?
If a guy's in the super duper ugly, like we're talking extremes, I would probably tell him that game is not going to work for him. I would tell him, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to someone. Well, first of all, my sales model doesn't work like that, so people don't like come to me. Like I don't get to see a person's pictures before they buy my product or whatever, right? So that's not how it works. It's all automatic and automated. But if a guy's super ugly, I will still do, and he says he's determined, I will be realistic to him about his, limitations. Yeah, like if he's super, like whatever, ugly or deformed. Those things, I do think that those things are not the commonplace. Like most guys are not super ugly. They're just a little bit like, what percentage? Okay, let me ask this question: what percentage of black pillars would you say are jacked?
I would say 30%, not many.
I would say it's probably less than 10%, if I had to guess. Probably less than 5%, because it's less than 10% or less than 5% of the pickup community that's in really good shape. I would say it's probably the same thing with the black pill community. Again, you guys mostly like to stay anonymous, so it's kind of hard for me to verify that. But from what I've seen, not many at all. So I would say that most of the people in the black pill community have not done everything they could, aside from surgery, because that's a topic in of itself, to maximize their looks. Because if you're not jacked, you have not done everything you can to maximize. I think a problem, and I don't know if you're going to acknowledge this or not, that I see quite often in the black pill community is a lot of victim mindset. It's like a lot of like, you know what, fuck, the game is stacked against me. The odds are stacked against me. I'm a 5, I'm never going to get those 10s. Fuck it, why try? Okay, that's definitely the easier course of action. Like it's easier to just be like, okay, fuck it, this shit's not gonna work. But then so what? Like it's not like you get to be, unless you're a fucking Hindu and believe you're gonna be reincarnated, it's not like you get to be a better looking guy. So what do you do with the hands that you're dealt with? And so do I think you should deny reality? No. But do I think you should just kind of cope and give up? No either. So, right. So there's like that path somewhere in the middle where you're cognizant of the reality, but you still do everything you can to maximize all the factors that are within your control. Game is one of those factors. Looks is another one of those factors. Status is another one of those factors. So you do everything you can to maximize your odds of beating the game of life. So that's kind of my philosophy in a nutshell. And I think that's pretty hard to disagree with. I mean, I think we can disagree with on how much each aspect matters, how much game matters, how much looks matter. But I think it's hard to disagree with the fact that you have to optimize everything. Like, because why would you not? Because you only have this one life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with the self-improvement in every sphere. Like you should be lifting weights and eating more healthily and being lean and all of that. But I don't think the red pill acknowledges that you could do all that and still not get any results. And
that might be true. I don't know much about the red pill.
It wouldn't be your fault if you've eaten healthy, you're lean, you've lifted, but your body's looking good, but your face is just still disgusting to women. It's not your fault, and I don't think the red pill acknowledges that circumstance.
I think there's a problem with the word fault because it implies it is too simplistic. Like the dating if you're a below average guy, the dating marketplace is stacked against you. Is that your fault? Well, you didn't cause it. Like your fault would be, for example, if I come to your house and I steal your shit and the cops catch me and I go to jail. That's my fault because I took conscious action. It's not your fault that you stacked the marketplace against you. It's not your fault that you were born below average looking. So I think there's a problem with that word. But then when you say, well, it's not my fault, okay, that's fine. But then when you say, if it's not my fault, then it must mean that I don't have any control over it. That's a different story. You have some some degree of control over the way your life goes. Again, unless you're like super fucking deformed, in which case, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to really focus on like status and fame, and I don't know. But that's an extreme situation. It's less than 1% of people who are watching this, or maybe less than 2%, whatever. So again, I just disagree with this premise that you should just like kind of give up and just surrender control. Is it your fault? No, it's not your fault. Like you didn't create the dating marketplace. You didn't create your genetics. But does that mean you should give up control? No, either, right? So I think the fault thing is just too simplistic of a word.
Let me just.
I'm not trying to defend the red pill community, because I'm not part of this community, nor do I, really agree with all its tenets or anything like that.
Let me just read some super chats because they're coming in.
Okay, and then after, let's go through your super chats, and let's take some questions from my audience, because they're piling up too. Right.
The Bitberg Slim, $10 said, a shaved balding head is the new comb over. Mr. Twister for 50 SEK said, social skills, aka game, come from confidence. Confidence comes from looks. It's that simple. I would say is confidence. You can generate confidence that don't come from looks, but then it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Delusion. If you're confident about something you can't do, it's delusion. If you don't get women, you've tried everything, and you're still confident because your women reject you because of your looks, but you still maintain this air of confidence. That's delusion, right?
Okay, so I agree with that, but let me ask you a question. Is it delusional for my business partner, Indian P, to be confident?
When he's dating a drunk single mom, yeah.
Okay, let's not get to a point where we take what the other person says and just completely misinterpret it, because I haven't done that to you. It's not really fair if you do that to me. I made it very clear that he's not dating this girl. He hooked up with her really once. Like, I think I've been very clear about that. So again, like, is it, going back to the question, is it delusional for him to be confident?
I don't know what his results are. I mean, I find it hard to believe that he's bedded 50 women, in 150 women. His results are kind of out of line with most men of his looks.
Oh, they definitely are.
I don't think that just him having the right body language had that much of a shift in his perceived attractiveness to women, by women.
Okay, let's assume his results are real, because I can vouch for them, because I live with him, so I kind of see who he gets and who he doesn't. Let's assume his results are real. Is it at that point delusional for him to be confident?
No, if the results are real, he should be confident. Or I guess, he has a reason to be confident. But it's just that we don't see that. Like, we haven't seen that. We're at a stage in the dating market where.
But isn't it fair to say that, like,
these results always seem to be like, I know a guy. I don't think there's anything conclusive that I've seen from red pillars, except I know a guy, or I speak to this guy who did this. I know a guy who achieved this. It's quite anecdotal. There's nothing that you can point to. I mean, what biological purpose does it serve for a woman to be attracted to a man's game? Like, game can't be passed on to offspring. Wouldn't it make more sense that a woman be attracted to a man's height, a man's dominant?
So let me address this question. So for a very long time, we evolved as cave people, right? So the whole modern society thing is very new. So our evolutionary instincts are very much wired back in cave time. So the biggest thing back in those days that was valuable to women wasn't really a guy's look per se, but the ability to protect her. And that included having value within the social environment they were in that cave. So if the leader of the cave, the guy that was the most confident, the most dominant, the most alpha, wasn't good looking, that was more valuable to her than a caveman who was really good looking, but who was a little bit beta, who was a little bit weaker, who was a little bit more meek. So that's the reason why a woman would, the biological function that would serve for a woman to be attracted to a not so, attractive guy.
So you're admitting that it serves more of a biological purpose for a woman to be attracted to height, to be attracted to frame, a masculine jaw, than to just have great body language.
No, I'm saying that a lot of it has to do with the social standing of the person living in the cave. Again, that social standing isn't always that the guy who's the tallest and has the biggest jaw is the leader of the group. There's so many situations. If you look at world leaders in our history, a lot of them have been short people. Stalin, Mussolini, like whatever. Well, not Mussolini. Who's the friend? Napoleon. A lot of the people who dominated the world, the most, let's say, in charge guys of the world, were shorter guys who were not chads. So there's not always a correlation that the guy that's the most best looking is the one who's the leader of the group. And the world in history is full of examples of guys who weren't the best looking, who were leaders. So in those primitive times, it made more sense for the woman to be attracted to the guy who's the leader, who could provide her the most safety for her offspring, rather than the guy that was the best looking or looked like he was in charge. Again, it comes down to who was actually the leader of that group. And it wasn't always the best looking guy. Was it the case some of the time? Yeah, but not all the time. There's many examples, again, as I keep going back to it in history, where far from the best looking guy was the guy who was the biggest leader.
In that case, then you're speaking about status, right? If you're saying that a man who is not the best looking but can get women, so you're talking about status.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm talking about. Yeah, status.
Right. Status does have play a role in the ability to get women, but biologically, wouldn't looks be just that much more important?
Okay, so that depends on. I'm not a biologist. I'm going to preface it by saying that. Again, I would think, like, just using common sense, that 20,000 years ago, when their life was full of dangers and people died at the age of 15 and 20, that for a woman it was much more important to find a guy who could protect her offspring, and that means being a social leader, being the most alpha, rather than the guy who had the best genetics. That's I would think that now maybe it's changed a little bit. If we're going by evolutionary, like, I think if we in 20,000 years, because genes take a while to change, even 20,000 years, and in a million years, the biology might change, because now there's not that imminent threat. So women could evolve to biologically value looks more than anything else. But the way we evolved, looks weren't that important 20,000 years ago, right? There was no Instagram. It was your ability to survive and protect yourself, protect your partner from threats, and get by within your small caste. So we evolved not really to place that much value on looks back in those days. I think we evolved to place more value on status and behavior. Again, like if we're going by the biology. Now, biology does not determine behavior. I want to preface it by saying that. Biology doesn't mean we're going to act a certain way, but biologically, it makes more sense that women evolved to place more value on things aside from looks. Again, to ability to keep her, child safe.
Going back to your analogy, if you have a receded chin and you're like a mouth breather and you're short and balding, have bad eyesight and an ectomorph, you're probably it's probably going to be hard for you to achieve status and protect a woman anyway. So don't you see where your genetics plays out in your ability to?
But then, according to this argument, according to this argument, in our history, all the leaders would be like chads. They would be the best looking guys. They would be the tallest guys, and that's just not really the case. Like, in fact, if you look at most of the leaders of the world, they're really not the best looking.
But that's kind of an artificial situation, with the society that we've built. But just in a purely tribalistic society, if you do have a receding chin and a mouth breathing, poor eyesight, balding, you're frail, ectomorph, you're not going to be protecting a woman anyway. So your looks are a demonstration of your lack of status. Did he go? Where did he go? Where is he? Hello? I think his internet died. Oh. F for Alex. He died. Well, it was a fun conversation, I guess. But F.
Yo, my bad. My computer died.
Okay, you're back. Sorry, I played a tribute to you because you seem to go. All right, you're back. All right. Yeah, did you hear what I said?
Did your audience assume that I fucking bounced on this conversation?
I thought you just no. I was just playing. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but anyway, so we were discussing what, biology, I think, right?
Yeah. I said that third time. Sorry about this, audience. If a guy in a primitive society or pre-society, if he's short, balding, bad eyesight, frail, ectomorph, mouth breathing, if his genetics are awful, it's very unlikely that he would be seen as having high status. It would be unlikely that he would achieve high status. It would be unlikely that he would be able to protect a woman. So do you see where your looks can inform your behavior?
Yeah, I see your point. If we're talking extreme examples of the guy super, weak frame and blah, 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 timid, then he is going to have a harder time becoming the leader. I will fully secede you that point. But if we look at the animal kingdom, which, I think is a good way of looking at biology, it's not the biggest animal that's often the most dominant. In fact, quite often it's a smaller animal that dominates the bigger animal, right? There's a lot of behavior. Like when they watch lions and shit, it's not always the biggest lion that, controls the pride. Or, why is there bigger animals that give in to small animals? Because again, a lot of it has to do with behavior. So again, it's just like your point is that, looks will determine how far you rise in the social hierarchy, but history and the animal kingdom, it doesn't really support that, biology driven, hypothesis. So I don't know. I mean, I think we're kind of beating a horse to death because we're kind of going back on the same points. Unless there's something you want to add to this argument.
Yeah. All right. You said you had callers or something.
Yeah. We have a bunch of questions. So let's take some of these. All right, so we quickly address this. Why is the guy called Face not showing his face? Yeah, just for privacy reason.
Yeah.
Is that something Blackpillers get attacked on a lot for not showing their face?
Yeah. Oh, but sorry. Someone in the comments said that small lines don't protect the whole tribe or the whole. Yeah. So I mean, it depends. You're not going to get like a cub ruling a pride of lions.
No, but again, that's going back to the extreme examples. Again, because that's like it's like you're not going to get a baby banging, like you're not going to get like a 7-year-old kid banging like a Maxim cover model. For electromorph. Okay, there's a lot of like discussion, but I'm trying to find the question. Okay, this is kind of it. What's your this is kind of, I'm gonna rephrase this question. What's kind of your goal with your channel? Like, what are you trying to communicate, and what do you want your audience to believe? I guess
to believe that looks are way more important than society has us believe. That women are primarily attracted to looks. That your game is secondary to looks, and that any improvement you make to your sexual market value should be heavily weighted to improving your looks than your game. There's very little game that needs to be improved upon, or there's very little you can improve your game to make you attractive. Like the difference between normal social skills and having top tier game, there's not much. You don't need to take a boot camp and spend 5 years learning game. The game that you need to get a woman, or the game that you need in order to qualify yourself as having game, is very minimal. It's like don't be needy, don't double text, be give a woman the sense that you have an abundance. There's like a few points that you can point to and say, all right, this is game. This is what I need to demonstrate. I watched your video of you approaching this Colombian girl, and you said that you were a lot gamier in your past than now. Nowadays, you kind of throw in one or two flirty comments, lean back, and then the interaction kind of it goes its own way. You leave it to go its own way. So the amount of game needed, I think the red pillars overblow it in order to keep, I don't know if it's to keep people watching videos or to keep custom. I don't think there is.
I think they genuinely believe what they believe. I think the black pill, you guys, for example, I don't think there's, I mean, sometimes, yeah, it's to sell a product, but I think you guys, you black pillars believe what you believe. I think you genuinely believe, what I think that, what you think is the way you view the world, that's what you truly think it is. And I think the same thing for the red pillars and the pickup guys. I don't think most people are like, pretending to feel a certain way. I mean, I think there's definitely some coaches, but I don't think that's the majority. Let me ask you this question. What would you rate your own sexual market value?
3.
Oh, really? Okay, 3. Was it because you're on the shorter side, or why is that?
No, it's because my face is borderline deformed.
Okay. Have you done any of like the stuff that you mentioned? Like, have you done any of the surgeries or anything like that?
I've had surgery. One surgery, blepharoplasty, which is to improve the sagginess of my lower eyelids and to make the hollows under my eyes less prominent, to bring my eyes more forward, make them more prominent. I've pursued jaw surgery, but jaw surgery is expensive. It's not a case of walking into a surgery and saying, give me the works, and you walk out. You have to have, in my case, you have to have months, years of braces and consultations. It's not something that you just get. So ideally,
we don't give a shit. You just pay enough money, you can get whatever you want here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Or South America.
Yeah. But yeah. I guess my idea of the black pill is that I've said this before. I've said that you should look at the red pill and game first of all. Like maybe the red pill is enough to help you. Anyone who's messaged me in my Discord, on Discord, it's particularly if they're young or they haven't tried to get women. I've said, yeah, try game first, try speaking to women, exhaust all of that stuff first. Then, if that doesn't work, then pursue black pilled means of increasing your attractiveness. So I just want to make it clear that I'm not saying that everyone should flock to the black pill and start getting jaw surgery or give up. I'm saying that the black pill is a reasoned response to what women are telling you.
But is the black pill basically is the solution? Because I understand that, the research you guys do and all that. I'm not even necessarily disagreeing with it, at least not with all of it. But is the solution that the black pill offers to basically give up on the dating marketplace?
It depends on your looks. Sorry, someone's calling me. Hold on a sec. Right, hold on a sec. It depends on your looks. That's the thing about the black pill. It doesn't prescribe one solution to all types of men, because some men are below average looking, some men are average, some men are above average, some are...
But do you really think that above average looking guys go to the black pill? Because according to the black pill philosophy, they should be crushing it already. So why would they need the black pill?
Some above average looking men in the black pill are like what we call fake cells or mental cells. So they have like autism. There is a situation where you may be above average looking but unable to get women, and that's usually if you have like a mental issue. And I don't just mean like shyness. I mean, like crippling social anxiety or autism. Those are like that's the caveat.
Because I would say that, I mean, I don't know. My guess would be that most of the guys, and again, I'm not trying to insult the black pill community, but most of the guys in the black pill community would be below average sexual market value. Because if not, then why would they come to the, like I just can't imagine like a above average looking guy, again, unless he has extreme social anxiety, whatever. In which case, I think that game would probably be the necessary prescription for him. I mean, if he has like extreme mental problems, then he needs probably like prescription medication. But if it's just like he's just like shy or whatever, he probably needs game if he's good looking. But so I would venture to say that the black pill might have a bit of a bias because it is mostly lesser attractive guys. Like, is that not true? Yeah. Or
but the black pill is based on journals and studies that these outlets who produce these studies don't subscribe to the black pill. They just evaluate the truth or evaluate the results of their studies, and it just happens that they agree with what the black pill dictates.
See, I don't know about that because that's to me kind of like a Republican, hardcore Republican, ignoring everything that doesn't support his premise. Like, for example, some of the data you like, the study the article you showed about the about the girls being shown pictures. That's a very flawed study because again, you're asking girls to judge a non-physical, non-visionary, non-visual attribute in visual. Like, oh, like what the fuck does that mean? A guy's confidence is a 10 on a piece of paper. Of course, she's gonna focus on his looks. So. Yeah, I think that's
the results are consistent with the trends you see in dating today. The results are consistent. So, you may have a point that the methodology may be a bit flawed, but the result is
the same. Flawed. I mean, that is a flawed study.
Okay, all right then. Let's take this. I don't have the video to hand right now, but there was an ABC news segment where they got these women into a like a lineup, like a police lineup, like behind some glass, one-way glass, and they got these short men to be paraded in front of these women, and they gave the women information about these men, like their career, what they do in their life, and the women were just like, no, he's too short, I can't date with him. I think in one case, the interviewer said, "Is there anything I could tell you about this guy that would make you attracted to him or over a hot guy?" And she said something like, maybe if the hot guy were a serial killer or something like that. They made it abundantly clear that no matter what these men's personality or what these men's achievements, millionaire, whatever, or highly successful, they just couldn't bring themselves to date a man that they saw as too short. So the study that we see are reflective of the dating market in 2021.
Yeah, I think the only real way to do a study would be to take like 10,000 women across the world and look at the guys that have actually had sex with, and then get those pictures of those guys and have those guys be rated. So you have to look at, like, again, the behavior of the woman. And like, so I think that'll be the only way to really get to the bottom of this once and for all, how much do looks matter. I don't think anything like that has been done. I would be very interested to see a study like that. But okay. So let me kind of end it off on this question. Like, what are you, like, without getting too personal, what are some strategies you're personally doing? Because I'm assuming, you do want to like have kids, right? Or where you at in terms of that? You do want to get a girlfriend and all that, or you don't really give a shit?
I would say that I'm mostly missed out now. So I'm a man sent his own way. So I've kind of accepted my fate, and I'm prioritizing just other pursuits. If a girl comes along, that would be great, but I'm not going to put much effort into something that's just increasingly hard to do or increasingly impossible. So I don't really care.
Okay. All right. So is there any strategies you're employing right now, for example? I guess you kind of answered the question, but is there anything you're doing on the side to maybe maximize your chance a little bit, or not really?
For a while, a long time ago, maybe a few years ago, I was still pursuing jaw surgery. I'm not really sure if I'm going to finish that. I was lifting weights, I had not a hair transplant, sorry, a hair tattoo to thicken up my hair. I tried stuff but I guess at my level of looks, it's hard to invest fully in looks maxing when you know that guys above you, like maybe like a 4, are struggling. So if I could looks max to a 4, I'd still be struggling like the 4s themselves. So it's very disheartening. The dating market is very disheartening when you understand how brutal it is.
I'm not going to disagree with that. The dating market is disheartening for a lot of people, even to some extent, above average looking guys. Let me end it off with this, because I know this person, Girls Chase. He's a good guy. I like to offer Face and LMS and something. I'll coach him 100% free for 3 months and see if I can get him some results. Offer is open and nothing to lose but a little time. What do you think about something like that? Like, this guy will coach you 100% for free, and I can vouch for Girls Chase. He's actually legit. I've had him on the channel. What do you think about something like that, where you have nothing to lose?
I don't know, because I've approached enough women to know that they have this visceral reaction to my looks, and I just, once you've experienced this level of rejection, it's hard to like come back from it and start afresh, like a fresh slate. I'm too aware of how women behave given my face, so it just doesn't make sense to me to.
But do you accept the fact that you're?
Yeah, someone said I should do it. Someone said I should do it. All right, I might see what happens.
But can you accept the fact that you're a human being, and just like I'm a human being, and that what we believe may not be the reality? Like, we all have a skewed version of reality. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right. I'm sure in 5 years I'm going to say I was wrong about some things, right? So is it possible that maybe, your experiences have dictated your perspective, and maybe your perspective is not 100% objective, and that maybe there's something that you're missing that this person can point out, and that could improve your life? I mean, if you have nothing to lose, I would say, why not go for it?
I guess so, but it's the premise is there's some body language that I haven't done that would make me attractive. There's some words said in the right sequence that would.
I just think it would be really interesting if you went into this with like 100% open mind, just like purely looking at it as like a scientist, as an experiment. Okay, I'm just gonna completely suspend my beliefs temporarily and just see. And maybe you'll be right. And maybe at the end of these 3 months, you can be like, my initial premise or hypothesis was correct. Maybe it'll be partially correct. Maybe it'll be completely incorrect. I think it'll probably be partially correct. I think you'll learn some things, and some things you'll be correct about, because I don't think you're wrong about everything. I definitely don't. I think it would be a very interesting experiment. I think it's an experiment that a lot of your audience could also benefit with. Like, you kind of use yourself as a guinea pig, and you kind of just see what happens. But I think the only way to do this, if you go into it with an open mind and you're willing to suspend, your hypothesis for those 3 months.
You do realize that I did pick up art a long time ago, though. So I'm not. This is not like this. What I'm going to be told is not new information.
Yeah, but I'm not familiar with your history, but again, depends on what tactics you were using, what advice you were following. Like, pickup is not all the same. Just like I'm sure you can say that cars are not all the same. Like, there's a lot of pickup channels who preach total utter nonsense that will not work, that teach strategies that are just ineffective. So, I don't know what you were doing, what you were not doing. I'm not familiar with you personally, so I can't confirm or deny whether you were actually, tried game, so as to speak. But I do think this would be, again, I'm not going to try to push you into it. I do think this would be a very interesting experiment. Food for thought. I'll introduce you guys in email, and then you can decide if you want to try it or not. But I do think it would be a very interesting experiment. I think that, your audience could benefit from. Like, for example, like I'll just say, like, with me, I'm trying to be like as open-minded as possible having you on my channel, because Blackpill is fairly different than the genre I'm in. Again, I think we agree on some things. I don't think I'm a typical pickup channel, but I do try to be like open-minded to other ways of looking at things, right? So I think it's just a good mindset to have. So again, take it.
Let me get through some of these really quickly.
Yeah. Let's take a few super chats.
All right. All right. Let's get. There's quite a few here. I'm going to go through these at lightning speed. Jeez. Okay, blue cheese, no fleas, £5 said, I'm a 6 foot tall doctor and decent social skills, but due to my hair loss, I have had little luck. I live in the UK and women here are not that attractive. So what would you say about his hair loss causing, what would your advice be?
Women like guys with hair, so get a hair transplant. Me personally, I've had hair loss. If you look at my genetic tree, my whole family is like, I come from a long line of bald Russian people. My dad is bald. My mom's dad was bald. Like all the males genetically in my family have been bald. I'm the only one who's managed to keep his hair, past a certain age. So, that's again, because I do a lot of shit for it. At some point, I'm definitely going to do a hair transplant. But yeah, so if your hair loss is severe, do a hair transplant. If it's at a point of no return, like it's really fucking bad, then completely shave your head. I do know bald guys that get pussy, so it's not like it's essential. What you don't want to do is you don't want to have some hair, but the rest of it is balding. You either want half hair or you want to be bald. You don't want to be somewhere in the middle.
Okay. Lewis Barrow, no comment, thank you. The Bitburg Slim, $5 said, I know a guy who's so fat when he pleasures himself, it's like a three-way for him. I don't know what that means. Marin Parin for €1, thank you, nothing. Man's Redemption, USD 4.99 said, I have 360,000 in crypto. Should I build a Blackpill no-go zone? And if yes, which state and how many acres? Yes, do it. That's my as many as you can. Which state? I have no idea which state, but as many acres as you can afford. The Bitburg Slim, $5 said, my Burma dad has 5 kids with 4 different women. In 2021, he would be incel, and I would never exist to Beta Bucks Deluxe. Doomer being 45 for $4.99 said, genetics determine your life. Change my mind. King GQ 4.99 said, this looks like, okay, it's a different comment. I have 5 children from 5 different women and had a total of 9 pregnancies on my second wife now, and they proposed to me. Blackpill wins the game. The Bitburg Slim, USD 10, said, I'm going to Beta Bucks face so much cash. This next episode, he's going to be casting couch a single mom. Mr. Twister for 20 SEK said, good-looking guys who don't get laid are in the closet. Bend Over for $5 said, 90% of communication is body language. Game is irrelevant when a woman wants more filters to meet men. Do you want to say a quick word on that before I keep going?
Well, he's saying 90% of human communication is body language, which I agree with, but body language isn't really looks. You're not born with body language. Body language is, again, your behavior. So, yeah, I mean, I don't understand what the argument is. If you're saying it's like the premise doesn't support the hypothesis, if 90% of communication is body language, then why are looks so important, right? Shouldn't it be body language that's important? So I don't really understand.
I'm not quite sure what he meant. Maybe he meant 90% of non-verbal. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I can't. If he has time, he can maybe clarify. King GQ said, my Uber driver yesterday told me I keep distracting her and wasn't even talking. Women can be beta too. Free Game Boys. The Bitburg Slim, $5 said, the chart where people meet is great and all. But once Chad 19 came, that's the Corona. Once Chad 19 came into the picture, that 40% turning to 95% or more with lockdowns worldwide. Yeah, I just want to go back to that point quickly. So, oh, in fact, I think someone's going to bring it up, so I'll just keep going. Sam Aponte 499 said, women are pickier since the growth of social media and dating apps. No other generation of women has ever had more options, making more men sexless or dateless. Do you want to respond to that quickly?
Sorry, I was looking at the comments. What was that?
Right. Women are pickier since the growth of social media and dating apps. No other generation of women has ever had more options, making more men.
I would say that's true. Yeah.
All right. And so on online dating, what are they going to pick? The ugly guy? What are they going to swipe?
So, okay, so we can agree on the problem, call it a problem, but disagree on the solution. So just because online dating has become more popular doesn't mean that you have to, engage in online dating. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm actually a big proponent of online dating, but that's what I'm saying. Just because there's been a recent heroin epidemic in the East Coast doesn't mean that you should do heroin if you live in the East Coast. Like, that one does not equal two in this situation. So, do you have to, like, just because more girls are in online dating? Okay, they still fucking leave their apartment to fucking do shit, maybe less often than they did 10 years ago. And COVID definitely didn't help the game. But I live in Miami. Like, I know you guys have a little bit different in Europe, where there's more restrictions and shit. Hopefully that will be going away soon. But I can tell you, in America, like, shit is open. Like, girls are out and about. I can't leave my apartment without seeing dozens and dozens of good-looking girls. So the girls are there. Right? Just because more of these girls are in online dating doesn't mean I have to play by their rules and only, like, do online. I can still talk to them in real life. So, yeah, I would, I'd agree with the premise, disagree with the whatever conclusion.
Okay. Since women have access to online dating, where they're in the position of power, and where they can, swipe through thousands of men to find the kind of men they want. Why would a woman care about? Why would a woman want to be approached in real life when she can pick the best of the best on online dating?
I mean, how many women have you talked to about their dating preferences? Because I can tell you, I've talked to a lot of women, and they all say, "Oh, online, I don't like it. What if I get catfished? That guy's too good looking. There's probably a catch. Oh, what if he's weird? What if he's a serial killer?" Vast majority of women, while they do engage in online and they probably do enjoy the power dynamic of it, that's not their ideal way of meeting a guy. And this is based on talking to dozens and dozens, if not over 100 girls. So I think that until you talk to, a lot of girls and get this information, you can't conclude that their ideal way of meeting a man is online, because it's just simply not the case.
But why have so many flocked to online dating then?
Why have so many women flock to online dating? Well, COVID definitely played a big game, because for a while you couldn't go out. So, it was like, okay, shit, what the fuck do I do? Or, you talking about pre-COVID?
Before. Yeah, before. I mean, COVID advanced it, but women have been.
I just think the world has become increasingly. Yeah, I just think the world has become increasingly more virtual. I think that has to do with dating. I think that has to do with business. Like, there was no such thing as work from home wasn't a popular concept 20 years ago. You have to go in the office. Now offices are closing down record rates. More people are working from home. So I just think the world has become more virtual. That's just the nature of the world.
So, all right. So do you see where I'm going with this? And you admit we've become more virtual. Yes. You admit that women are flocking to online dating more than they were 15 years ago.
Yes.
So they're in the position of power with online dating. Why would they want some guy coming up to them in real life to misopportune them while they walk into the train station? Especially if he's not good.
Because the majority of women bitch about online dating. They don't like it. They probably hate it even more than
do it though. They bitch about it, but they do it.
Right. But just because you do something doesn't mean it's your preferred way of accomplishing something. That's like, just because
they get something out of it. These women are still
the flaw in your logic. That's like saying, because I have a business, right? And I answer emails. Just because I answer emails more and more nowadays, because my channel's grown, that means that I like answering emails. No, I actually fucking hate answering emails, but I do it, right? So just because someone does something doesn't mean it's the preferred way. I would rather not answer emails. I'd rather make videos. but I still answer emails.
These
So
women opt, but I think that might be a bit of a different thing you're describing, because you're talking about being unable to communicate with men around the world. I mean, you have to use email, but women don't have to use online dating. They choose
but they feel yeah, but they feel they do. So let's take a typical woman in her 30s. Maybe she's been in a few relationships. She hasn't met the guy that, she wants to settle down with, whatever, or a guy that, meets her sexual needs. It depends on what she's looking for. And, she's not getting, guys are not approaching her. She's not getting the attention that she wants. And she's like, I don't have any options. So my only choice is online. She's like, I don't want to go to clubs because I can go to clubs and guys will mass approach me, but I don't want to go to clubs. I want to go to bed at like 11 or 12, which is reasonable. So my only choice is online, and all my friends are doing it. So she gets online. That doesn't mean just because she's online that's her preferred way of meeting men. She still, most of the time, probably wants to meet a guy in real life. And again, this is not based on something I pulled out of my ass. This is me based on talking to dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of girls. Like, girls they do online, but they prefer to meet a guy in real life. And that's just like, I think if you were to poll 100 women and ask them how would they like to meet a guy, they would say, I would like to meet a guy in real life. I would bet money on that. Like, I would bet any of my money on that.
But then you have to look at this chart again. And if women have this preference for...
All right, wait, hang on. Before we do that, let me take a piss real quick, because this podcast has gone for a while, which is good. That's fine. Okay. I like the debate. But let me take a piss, and then we'll get back into it.
Okay. All right. I'll play this while he's gone. I have no idea what happened. All right, that died. Let's try again. Damn. Okay, that's not working. Anyway, let's wait for this guy to come back. I prefer having... All right. I would read super chats, but I want him to hear them, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah, exactly. This going around in circles. Yeah, this is kind of why I didn't really want to have a discussion with a red pillar, because we're just going to, talking in circles. What I might do is unlist this stream and put a link to it. I don't really know, IceCat7. It's not really, I don't think we've, as predicted, we haven't really gone anywhere. We've come into this with the exact same beliefs we're leaving with. So.
Well, I mean, that's to be expected. You're not going to change someone's opinion in a 2-hour conversation. Like, that would just be crazy. I think we had a pretty good debate, though.
I mean, there's nothing I can show you. If I could show you a bunch of statistics. There's nothing I can show you that would override your experiences and your perception. And then there's nothing that you could. There's no anecdote you can show me that would...
I don't know if there's nothing you can show me to get me to change my view. I mean, I would say my mindset is somewhat flexible if you show me something convincing, but a article from a paper that I've never heard of, which sounds like they use flawed, methodology, is not going to change my mind. No. And I don't think there's really even that much to change my mind on. Again, we both agree that looks matter. We disagree on the extent to which they matter, probably. So I don't know. Is it possible to change my mind? I'm sure there is. I'm sure it is, but I don't think it's going to happen. Like, you can't change anyone's mind within 2 hours. That's like, the way human nature is. But do you have any other super chats, or do we kind of?
Let me try and be. Oh my gosh! Let me mute this guy. I wanted to get 1 or 2 callers on real quickly to ask you a question. If Siberian Husky is ready, I'll get him on now.
Last chance. I have a Siberian Husky. That's funny.
Right, he's not ready, so let me drag him back.
Okay, I like this. I like this. Even if you have a 1% chance of getting a girl from cold approach or Tinder, it's better than 0. So I agree with that. I think that's the difference, I guess, in mindset. But we both agree that the odds are stacked against bad-looking guys. But let's say it's a 1% chance of getting a girl, right? I think 1% is better than 0. So you should still do it, right? Because again, you only get one life. It's not like you get to be reincarnated as a good-looking guy. So But I think a lot of black pillars would argue, well, 1% is really low. 5% is really low. 10% is really low. So maybe we should just, not even bother with it. So again, yeah.
All right. Let's get Endless Battle on first. Do you have a question or a comment?
Can anyone hear me on here?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We got
Endless. Yeah, we can hear you. I don't think he can hear me. Hello, all right.
This is definitely the most unique podcast I've ever done.
Hey, Endless Battle.
We're taking calls now.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're on. Cool. You're on Blackpill View.
Cool. So I just want to say something to Alex. So you have one of your friends that you said has had sex with like 150 women.
My roommate, yeah.
Yeah. So how does that help society as a whole, and how does it help other men?
Well, my goal in using that example was not to help other men. I was trying to prove a point. So are you asking me, what is the question?
Okay, there's a bit of a delay here, so it's kind of difficult trying to hear properly. Well, my point is that, if you're having these men that you're training, you're teaching, sleeping with all those women, it's basically just going to cause a long amount of women just being damaged, isn't it?
No, because that would imply damage implies that you're lying to get the girl. I don't advocate lying or deceiving women. I'm a big proponent. Just let me finish. And then
those women can't pair bond anymore. They've been ran through. So as a consequence, you're just causing those women to become single mothers and not being able to pair bond at all.
Okay. So, well, I think there's how many of my videos have you watched?
How many videos have I watched of yours?
Yes.
No, I don't say it's not about lying. I don't say anything about lying.
No, I'm just saying I don't think you're familiar with my content.
They can't pair bond anymore.
Okay, let me just get my point across. I don't think you're familiar with my content because I don't teach men to just have one night stands, right? I'm a big proponent of you should be able to have the kind of sex and dating life that you want. If you want to have a bunch of one night stands and you're honest with the woman that you sleep with, I don't see anything wrong with that. Just like if you want to get into a serious monogamous relationship, that's okay too. I don't believe one is better than the other. I think a big problem is that some people place priority on one or the other. Like, oh, relationships are good, whatever, hedonistic sex is bad. I don't teach that, nor do I believe that. So again, I have many clients who just want to have a lot of sex. I have many clients who want to get into a relationship. I've had many clients who got married, whatever. So I don't teach them that one is better. As long as you're upfront about your intentions, there's no harm in either having a lot of casual sex or, being in a relationship. Does that kind of answer the question?
Endless battle.
Sorry, I'm just having trouble trying to follow along because there's echo. It's kind of echo with Alex, so it's a bit of a delay as well.
Yeah, we're like on different continents. That's going to cause the issue.
Yeah. All right. So the other thing also, Alex, is that you've got obviously you've got to admit you've got a conflict of interest because you're trying to sell $169 products on your website that's automated. So you can't really say that you're being completely 100% transparent and honest, right?
So the premise is that, I've heard this argument before. This is why I've heard this on why you can't trust dating coaches because they're trying to sell you something. So the implication is that because you have a business interest that you're not honest, which could be the case. I would like to say that it's not the case with me. I really have never been primarily motivated by money. Like if you look at, my marketing and my channel, for example, I've never done a single sponsored video, never done a sponsored post. So I miss out on a lot of opportunities to make money. I seldom ever even advertise my product. I never really push it. Like, our marketing is pretty basic. So I personally have never been primarily motivated by money. Like I could easily double my income within a month or two if I just follow certain marketing strategies, which I don't want to do because I just think they're lame. Like if you look at my history, I've only ever released one product. That's very uncommon in my niche. Most people release multiple products because there's a lot more money in it. So I like to think that I try to keep things pretty real. I'm not, again, motivated primarily by money. Is money good? Yeah, but I already have more than enough to be, happy. So I don't think I'm biased because I have a product. No, I would disagree with that.
Right. Endless. I have to keep it moving. So thanks for your call. Let's get Wheat Waffles. You're on Blackpill View.
Okay, yeah, just let me stream real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, so I'm on now. Yeah, so I have first of all, I'll just give credit where it's due. Like I do think that I'll give credit to Alex. Like he has been like fairly consistent the whole way. Like he has raised some good points throughout my stream. I do like have 2 points of disagreement. And one of them is like where I think he's just flat out been completely wrong. And another one is like one query that I think you've already touched on a little bit, but I'll just elaborate a little bit further. So I'll start on the point that he was just flat out wrong about. So he said earlier in the call that he raised the point that the leader of the tribe won't necessarily be the best genetically good looking. And then he kind of widened this example into the real world. He said that the leaders of the world won't be have good genetics. Well, if we take a look at some like statistics, 19 out of the 46 presidents of the United States, they were over 6 foot tall. Sorry, I can't hear.
But 19 out of 46 is not an overwhelming majority. 19 out of 46 is like the minority.
But when you take into account that 15% of the population is over 6 foot in the West, and 19 out of 46, that is about I don't know the exact maths, but it's about 45%. So that's a threefold increase. And that's just presidents. If you take a look at CEOs, 58% of CEOs for Fortune 500 companies are also over 6 foot. So that's a fourfold increase from the general population average.
Yeah, I actually know the studies you're talking about. I'm not even going to disagree with that. Yeah, so the argument you're making is that looks increase your ability to be a leader. I'm not going to disagree with that. I agree with that. Yeah,
that's the complete opposite. Or how come you suddenly change your point of view?
It's not the complete opposite because see, that's the thing. It's not complete opposite. Do looks improve your ability to be a leader? Yes. Is the overwhelming majority of leaders really good looking? No. So again, of course, looks matter.
Threefold increase, a threefold to fourfold increase, and you don't think that's significant? Is that what you're saying?
So let's go back to the president example, right? You said 19 out of 46 presidents.
19 out of 46, it's about 45% or so, isn't it? That's a threefold increase.
It's a little less than 45%. Yeah. Okay. So whatever. It's 19 out of 46 presidents were above 6 feet, and the average population. I'm not going to dispute that. I think I've seen that fact a while ago, and I remember that the source was pretty legitimate. Still, more than half of the presidents were not, above 6 feet. So does that mean that if you say you really want to be president and you're 5'5", you should not try to be president? No, because again, most of the presidents weren't tall. Do you have an easier time becoming a leader if you're tall? Yes. But does that mean that you should not try to be a leader if you're short? No. So again, like if you're going back to the caveman thing, I don't think anyone's ever done a study on this, but I'm sure that if they look at it, caveman leaders, then more of them were on the taller side. Yeah. But I'm sure there was also caveman leaders who are short, right? So is there an increased chance? Yes. But should that dictate what you do if you're a shorter guy, whatever? No. So again, I don't think we're really disagreeing on much.
Yeah, you're agreeing with my point now, but I just feel that I
never disagreed with that point. I never disagreed with the fact that, so I don't understand why people keep miscategorizing what I believe, but I never disagree with the fact that looks, height, whatever, play a role, increase your chances. I do think that. I do agree with that. So I've never disputed that.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Thanks for clarifying that. But thanks for clarifying it now. But it just felt that, and I'm sure many other people that can agree, especially if they bring it up in the chat, and if you do rewind the stream, that you were saying something different earlier on. But thanks for clarifying that now. Anyway, I'll move on to the second point, and we've kind of already touched upon it a little bit anyway. So women nowadays, you raised the point earlier that they don't want to date online. They would rather be met in real life.
Yeah.
So the question is, why do so many women choose to flock online? Why do they choose to do it despite them not willing to do it? And because I'll put it this way, every single woman gets approached. Everyone knows that women get hounded dozens of times every month, if not more, by different men who catcall them, approach them, try to hit on them. So what's wrong with those options? Why don't they like those people? Why do they have to go online? And we saw the graph earlier. It's something like 40 something % in 2018. What's it like now? It's going to be 70 to even more, like 70 to 75% given COVID. So why are they choosing to do that despite them getting hounded on the streets by thirsty men?
Okay, so the vast majority of the time when a woman gets hounded on the street, it's usually a guy is catcalling her. It's not a guy who's approaching a girl and saying, hey, I thought you were really cute and I want to meet you real quick. It's mostly shit like, yo, girl, that ass is fat from the sideline, right? So it's they're the guys who are catcalling are using, bad strategy. And I'm sure part of it has to do is that the guys who are approaching her are not desirable. Yes, but I think a lot of it also has to do with the strategy of the guys, who are quote unquote hounding the girl. No girl wants to feel like she's hounded, right? A girl wants to feel like she's being swept off her feet. So that's the first point. The second point is that
just a lot of people that just catcall for the sake of catcalling. We just look at the people that actually genuinely think they have a chance. Go over to the girl, think they've got a chance with her, and try to approach her.
But do you disagree with the fact that the majority of the quote unquote conversation the girl has on the street is not actually a guy genuinely approaching a girl? It's a guy catcalling a girl. Because most of the girls I've talked to, they say like, yeah, because I've heard this, because I've had the same exact question you did. Because I've met good-looking girls, and I'm like, why do you not like? How do you not have like guys coming up to you on the street? They're like, yeah, that doesn't happen as often as you would think. Most of the time, it's guys catcalling, yelling shit out of their cars and stuff like that. No girl is going to hook up with a guy who's yelling shit out of his car. So again, most of the quote unquote approaches the girl are getting are not really approaches. They're just like catcalling or whatever and shit like that. Going back to the second point,
I don't know if there's like, sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to say, like, I don't know if there's statistics like attached to this or like what percentage of so-called approach.
I don't think there is here. I'm just going off personally based on the conversations I've had with women.
I'm just going to like say, so put those aside for now and just focus on like the, like 33% whatever of the men who actually try to approach the woman as a genuine cold approach, thinking they have a chance. Just focus on those.
Well, it's 33% of what? Say that again.
Well, I've made that number up. So let's just say 33% of approaches to women are like genuine approaches, like genuine cold approaches that men think they have a chance. They want to hit on her. Like I've made the number up, but just for the sake of argument, just focus on that 33% of men who are trying to approach the woman. Why do they still get rejected? Like why are women choosing to reject them?
Well, not all of them get rejected.
Not there, which is not their like preferred methodology of like finding a partner.
Yeah, well, not all those men get rejected. Some of them succeed. Just because there's an increase in the rise of online dating doesn't mean that more cold approach guys are.
Trajectory. That's my point. Like, look at the trajectory of where things are heading. Like we all saw.
So all the chart has shown is that there's
20 years ago. It was like, what was the online percentage? It was like less than 5%, and now in 2018, it was 40%. And my guess is that looking at the trajectory of the graph is probably something more in the range of 70 to 75%, especially given COVID. So yeah. Like if you look at the trajectory, women are choosing to go against your so-called like ideal methodology of wanting to get approached via cold approach or
so in the argument. Okay, so you're okay.
Against that.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying. So you're saying that because
I hadn't finished my point.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you go. It's fine.
Okay, so so the argument you're making is because that chart shows that more women are flocking to online dating. That means that women are less interested in being approached in real life. That's the conclusion you're making. Is that correct?
Yeah, and my reasoning for that is because they do not like the attractiveness of or the quality of the men who they are getting approached by in real life. The only way a woman is able to get a high quality partner nowadays is mostly via online, because that's where they have the widest number of options. They're able to select men so easily based on looks, just from swiping either left or right. It's not that difficult. So they're choosing to do that instead, and it's only being made worse because of like the way the society and the world is heading right now. Because what's going to end up happening is that all girls so one girl is going to have a like really attractive boyfriend, and they're going to see all of these photos on Instagram. All of her friends are going to see those photos, and then all of those other friends are going to get jealous, and they're going to want to chip in, and they're going to want to like get a piece of that pie as well. So it's just kind of this just never-ending feedback loop, this repeating system that. And if you look at the trajectory of the graph, like it's being confirmed by the data as well, that women are going to increasingly being more inclined to go online and not do like these other methodologies that these dating coaches are teaching on their channel of cold approach.
Yeah, so just to quickly say, I actually, one of the main things I teach is online. So I've always been a big proponent of online. But okay, that's besides the argument. So again, so we can agree that more women are flocking to online. I agree with that. What we disagree on is the reason. And I haven't seen any data that suggests that more women nowadays are, not liking being approached in real life. I haven't seen any surveys or anything like that. So that's like making the argument.
No.
Just go on any like online website or look at the newspapers. Like you're constantly seeing headlines nowadays of like women like being upset and outraged by being approached by men. Like it's even gotten to the point where I think some men have got arrested for trying to pick up women.
That has a lot more to do.
Women declare it harassment. Women call it harassment now. If ugly guys,
that has a lot to do with the Me Too. That has much more to do with the Me Too culture and feminism and all that, which is a whole different thing. The Me Too thing,
and what is the Me Too?
The last 5 years.
What is the Me Too culture if not ugly men who think they have a chance with a woman, inopportuning a woman and trying to hit on her? What other than that is Me Too?
I mean, Me Too is feminism gone too far. I mean, again, we're going really off topic here. Like we're going into like the basis for the Me Too movement.
Okay. All right. Let me just make a point. Yeah, if you look at the red line on this graph met online, it's not stationary. It's going up. So women are choosing.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. The world that more and more girls are going online. So
yeah, they're choosing it. It's not like their reluctancy. It's not like the line is like wavering. It's skyrocketing. That indicates choice, or at least some agency on women's part, that they want to go on online dating because it's easier to select the men that they want. It's easier to get the good-looking men that they want rather than wait to be approached by some 5'6" guy in the street.
Okay. Just because in the last 5 years, a lot more people have invested in crypto, that's like, okay, we can agree on that. That's a fact. A lot more people have invested in crypto. That doesn't mean that jobs on average are paying less, so people have to get those outside investments. Like what A does not equal B in the situation. There's many reasons why women have moved predominantly to online. COVID is a big part of it. Another big part of it is the world has become virtual. There's many factors. And again, you're assuming that because this has happened, then this must be true. That's not necessarily the fact. Like you don't have any studies that show, again, except very anecdotal evidence of Me Too girls complaining, which is again, not even the majority. Let me just get this point across. Well, hang on. Let me get this point across. So I will say this. I've talked to a lot of women about this issue. And I would actually almost like what you're saying actually kind of makes sense. Because if you think about it on one hand, it's like, why would a woman not prefer online? She gets to just swipe through an endless array of guys, through the comfort of her home. She doesn't really have to leave the house. She gets unlimited options. So yes, in a certain way, it does make sense. But that's usually not how women think. Women usually think like, I want to meet a guy the way my mom did, my grandma did. It was so sweet when he came up to her and he swept her off her feet. Oh, I want a guy, I don't know, online. What if the guy doesn't look like his pics? What if he's a serial killer? That's like one of the biggest objections girls give to online dating. Like, yeah, they'll shop around, they'll go on there, but they won't meet anyone because they're worried the guy's going to be a serial killer, right? And again, it really begs the question, well, how do you know? Because if you look at statistics, most people get murdered by someone that they know in real life, right? So it doesn't even logically make sense. But women's dating and, attraction isn't logical. A lot of it is driven by emotion. They feel like with, a guy they met in real life is safer than the guy they met online, even though that data might not even be there. It might be the opposite. So kind of going to your point.
Your implication or your suggestion that women want to meet men in a traditional way is not in line with the data we see on screen. They may say, or they may idealize.
Those two could both exist.
They may idealize the meeting in a coffee shop or whatever, but if you look at their behavior, they are flocking to online dating where they have the control. So it doesn't actually matter what they idealize. They're flocking to a medium in which the only thing you get to present of yourself is your face.
I'll even go one step further. Because like if you like, so I agree with Alex's point that women might not desire to go online. Like it's not their preferred choice. However, like the women nowadays, like they're not having a choice. It's because their approaches in real life are so subpar. They're fed up of getting approached by these below average men that they would rather go online, where that's going to give them the highest quality and best chance of finding an attractive man.
I don't know if any girl would say that I went online because that's where I feel like I can get the highest caliber men. Most women are very suspicious, and they think that a guy who's good looking online is too good to be true and is probably a catfish. So I don't know if that's the reason girls are doing it. I think quite often they're doing it for attention. Quite often they're doing it because they're bored. Quite often they're doing it because their friends are doing it and they thought it would be funny. So I think there's many reasons girls are flocking to online. One of them is the way the culture has changed. One of them is what their friends are doing. One of them is the fact that dating apps have become more glamorized and popular recently. I don't think that you have any data suggests that it's just because they're tired of the guys that are cold approaching them. So, I mean,
your explanation is that they shouldn't be going online. Your explanation is that they shouldn't be going online because their preferred choice, their preferred methodology.
No, they can do what they want. I could care less what they do. No, I'm not saying they shouldn't. A girl can go online and get attention, but for validation, but not meet anyone, and still desire to meet a guy through her friends or whatever, through work. I mean, that happens all the time. I'm not saying all girls do that, but a lot of girls go online and they never even meet anyone. Maybe they meet one person. So, you know, I'm not saying that, but yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of going in circles here.
All right, I'm going to just say my one.
It is going around in circles now.
I'm going to say my one point that I don't think you answered, Alex. Women are increasingly flocking to online dating, in which a man's face is the primary first impression that he gives, and so couldn't you reason that this has a detrimental result for unattractive men or men below a certain level of looks, regardless of how much game he has, because you're not going to be able to display game in a picture.
You're right. I mean, you can display game in your texting, but not in a picture. Yeah, probably not. Okay,
yeah,
so
when women left swipe you, when women left swipe your face, you don't get a chance to show game.
Right.
Text.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So
there's multiple times on my own channel. Like the thing with attraction, it's like two separate filters, and unfortunately, most people get filtered out at filter 1, which is the looks filter. And it doesn't matter if you have the best like assets and tools in stage 2, which is like where you get to showcase your personality, your confidence, your game, whatever. The list is endless. It doesn't matter how many of those, how many points you score in those categories. If you're never able to get past the first filter, which is the looks filter, then you're never going to be able to showcase the second stage. And most men get filtered out at stage 1.
Sure. I mean, a lot of those men also have really bad photos. I've seen like, let's say your sexual market value is a 7.
I take professional photos on my personal Tinder profile, and I still get 1 match per day.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay, so let's. I've seen a lot of guys get professional photo shoots and fuck up. Why don't we do this? Make a post. Like, I'm not going to charge you anything for this. I don't charge anyone for this. Make a post in our free forums with your Tinder profile. I'll take a look and I'll see if there's anything that we can optimize. Like, would you say you're a truly like hopeless guy?
My profile. I used to get 0 matches, and then like I optimized my profile, and I was able to like get it to a point where I was able to get like consistent like a match per day. Like, I know it's not great, but it's something. And like I was actually able to get a relationship from that. I've only ever been on 1 date from online dating, and that person ended up becoming my girlfriend. Like I know the process. I know like the things that you're teaching. I was red pilled for a very long time. I know all of the ins and outs, and I've maximized like to the best of my ability the things that you're talking about. But still, like my biggest limitation, the thing that's preventing me from having abundance is my genetics. Like I'm average height. I'm average like in the face. Like if I want to become a top 1% male, like it's not really going to be possible or viable.
So your sexual market value is like a 5 or so, right?
In the things that I can't change.
So your sexual market value is like a 5?
I would say that I've to like at least 95% I've improved my sexual market value to the best of my ability, and my SMV is about 5.
Okay, your SMV is about 5. I mean, in that case, you should be getting more than 1 match a day. again, I don't know what you've done and what you haven't done. This is like the first time we've talked. I would be happy to actually confirm that. Like, you have nothing to lose if you're truly confident in the fact that there's nothing that can be optimized and that I'm wrong. Just make a post. It can't hurt. It doesn't cost you.
Even I've optimized it to the 95th percentile, like the last 5%.
Again, that's according to your opinion. That's not a fact. No, like commission has come in and said that, verified that. Like, that's according to your opinion, according to your knowledge, you've optimized it. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
It's based on my own data, like, because I used to get 0 matches, and now I'm getting 1 match per day.
Okay, so just because you went from 0 matches to 1 match means that you've optimized it 95 percentile. Like, that, again, that logic doesn't add up. Like, I just don't see how it can hurt for you to, like, I'm not saying maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I will take you up on your offer, but honestly, I don't think there is much.
Just let me know in the comments that this is you, so I know to take a close look at it when you make the post.
Yeah, of course, no worries. I'll send you an email after, but I feel like we're kind of detracted from the point. So if we go back to it,
I'm just going to read some of these super chats.
I'll definitely sort it out.
I'm going to read some of these super chats quickly.
All right, facing LMS though. Let's cap it at like another 5-10 minutes because we've gone for 2
exactly. I want to go. Yeah, exactly. I really wanted this to be short. The Bitberg Slim says, I put a Chad dog pic on Tinder and the hound garnered 23 matches and lots of messages. Scrooby dooby doo. Sam Aponte, 499 said, game is a red pill adaptation and does not define the red pill itself. Many MGTOW are red pilled and do not date. Okay. Man's Redemption, 199. If you're not a god, you didn't try hard enough. Yeah, that's a satirizing your point. Wheat waffles, £5. Thank you. Ask Alex.
I've already asked that question. You don't need to read that out. Yeah.
Bend over, £5 said, the most attractive features to women are ones that emphasize dominance, or ones that, like I said, can be passed on to offspring. It's not like I don't want to rehash what I said, but it makes more sense that a woman choose a trait that would be passed on to her son, such as height, frame, rather than, game is all good, and maybe you could protect the tribe in some historic context. Like, maybe if you're a 5'10" guy and you could protect the tribe somewhat through learning some fighting skills. But it's going to be overridden by physical traits that can be passed on to offspring. I don't believe that there's no grounds for wanting a man based on his ability to fight or something. That doesn't make sense. Like, evolutionary speaking, it makes no sense. Name with hell. A point you made that if a man has good fighting, not for good fighting skills, but some status within the tribe, that a woman would be attracted to him. That may be
because his status can protect the baby.
That may increase his attractiveness, but biologically speaking, it would be more attractive if he were tall and could produce healthy offspring.
How would that be more attractive than the ability to keep the baby alive?
Who said it?
Let's say you have
who said a tall attractive guy can't keep a baby alive? Maybe he has that and the genes that she requires.
Then he would be an even better option. But I'm saying if her choice
exactly, that's it. Then he's even better. He's an even better option.
Of course.
All right.
Again, you're. I'm not denying that. Look, like, if the girl has a choice between 2 guys, one of them is tall, good-looking guy, but he's kind of beta. He's not a leader in the group. Can't keep the baby alive. And the other choice is a shorter guy who's not as good-looking, but he's the leader of the group and keep the baby alive. Why would she want to have a tall baby that's going to fucking wind up dead by the one of 2? Of course, from a biology perspective, from our desire to reproduce, she's going to want that guy who's going to be able to protect the baby. So again, we're kind of rehashing old points.
But then again, as a survival point of view, yes, she is. But why wouldn't she take the genetics, the superior genetics of the superior man, and then leave the raising of the child, the beta buxing part of the equation, to the inferior man who's there to provide resources?
Maybe the lower because if the what's it called, the worst looking guy is the leader of the tribe, he's probably not going to pick up the scraps of like some other some like chick who already has a kid. He's going to want to have his own kids because that's his. If you
look at the data, throughout history, like I think it's I don't know the exact numbers, but like obviously like it changes like over the last 10,000 years. But I think it fluctuates between women are like being reproduced by I think a third, but it's between a third and a half of men. So only between a third and a half of men were able to reproduce. Like, so it's a given that like nearly every single woman is going to be able to reproduce, provided that she doesn't have like any fertility issues. Like, it's a given because it's always going to be thirsty men.
I've never seen that study, so I can't really comment on that.
But that's not the same for men. Like, there's no safety net for men like that. I will be able to get the studies. Like, if you give me enough time, like I might not have it at hand now, but like after the call, I will be able to send you the study over showing that throughout history that only
I'm not necessarily disputing it. I'm just saying I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on it at the moment.
All right, let's keep going with the super chat. So name withheld, $10.
we gotta get this to a conclusion.
Yeah, I know we're gonna go. Just supporting the stream. My girlfriend let me donate this. At least I hope she did. I haven't met her yet. Or a girl that didn't make the U face yet. Martyros, thank you for your super chat. Bendover said $2. Blah, blah, blah. Same arguments. Nothing new was said. Name withheld. You have to reach a certain threshold to use game. I used game all time online. It's great. Then they want a picture of me and block me. Bendover said, gender ratio is skewed under 40 years old. Why would a woman get a lower SMV guy when men line up to date even the lowest of women? And then Martyros, let me back into your server, fake cell. So yeah, why would the gender ratio under 40 years old is skewed? There are a lot more men than women. So why would a woman settle for a low SMV?
What is that based on? As far as I know,
that's based on Pew Research. That's based on Pew Research.
So you're saying there's way more. Wait, so you're saying there's way more men than
under 40,
under the age of 40?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would imply that when a woman gives birth, she has a way higher chance of giving birth to a man, to a boy.
Yes, and there is reasons behind that as well, because it goes back to the tribes that we've been talking about so much about, that men are much more likely to die early, like in their life. So like they're more likely to take risks. They're more likely to go out and die fighting other tribes, like dying in battle. So like by the time people reach like fertile age, like in their mid-20s or so, then like the numbers will usually be equal by that point. But obviously that doesn't happen.
Okay. As far as I understand, it's about 50-50. You would have to really show me some solid data that suggests that women are more likely to give birth to a guy than a girl. I haven't seen anything like that. Yeah, not a biologist, but yeah. Okay, let's keep going.
It could be a lot more men emigrate to different countries or something, leaving I don't know, more men emigrate to a country, inflating the number of men in that country. So it could be that. So the number of men that women have as options is substantially increased, and so they just have their pick of the litter. If they have their pick, why are they going to pick an ugly guy even if he has game? A normal guy, above average looking, with normal social skills, is going to win over any ugly guy with maximum game.
Right, but then again, a woman, for example, let's say a woman has 10,000 DMs. She's not going through all those DMs and evaluating her options. Like most women are, it's kind of like, why do you see attractive women with not so attractive guys? Again, like most women are making decisions based on, whatever she sees. Like, again, we all have like our little colored glasses. So maybe she doesn't even see those guys, the 10,000 guys sliding in her DMs, i.e. those options, as viable options, because she thinks they're not even real. She thinks that only the guys in her like day-to-day life are real. So I don't know why she would. I'm not a woman, nor am I a sociologist or whatever, but I see plenty of women, I think everyone has, that are with guys who are, not as attractive as them. Does that mean that looks don't matter? No, but it does happen quite often. So, yeah, I don't know why.
Okay. Do you have any final points? Wheat waffles. Do you have any final points?
No. I've pretty much finished everything I've got to say. I was just trying to find the statistic which showed the, more men at younger ages than women, but I can't seem to find it. So,
all right. I would love to get through these. Okay. Bendover said 105 men are born for every 100 women in the West. So, yeah, there's the stat. I think that's from Pew Research. So,
what's the stat?
105 men are born for every 100 women.
Oh, somebody
in the West.
found it. Somebody found
bend
it.
over, posted it.
Okay, first of all, that's not significantly more. That's 5% more. Second of all, what country is this based out of? This world average?
This is probably, I would say, United States, but it might be a similar pattern throughout the West. So if women have these options and they're bombarded by men, why
5% is not a drastic difference. If 105, okay, assuming this is true, which I think there's probably something off about that study. Maybe it's looking at a specific country. Maybe it's taking certain other things into consideration that shouldn't be taken. But assuming this study is 100% correct, that 105 men are being born for every 100 women, that's not that big of a difference. That's 5 more men for every.
When you can make is that even if like we're in a completely perfect equal society and there's one, so every single man is going to end up marrying a woman and every single man is going to be satisfied.
According to this perfect society,
there's not going to be any single man. So guaranteed 5 out of every 100 men are going to be excluded. Like it's a guaranteed 5 men are going to be ostracized, and they're not going to have.
That's 5%. That's less than 5% of the male population. That's not the majority of the male population is going to get fucked. You make it sound like it was like 30-40%. That's like less than 5% of the male population, according to this analogy, would get fucked. Which is again, it's not like the majority. So okay.
And then you have to factor in there are a lot of women nowadays who are opting out of dating because they can't find a man who meets their looks criteria. So that inflates the number of the competitors.
I'm not saying that a certain amount of men are not going to get fucked. I agree that a certain percentage of men are going to get fucked. Like there's no denying that. But okay, we got to get to a conclusion here. So is there anything like, because we've been going for 2.5 hours.
All right,
that's nothing for a FACEandLMS stream.
I think it's undeniable that the trends that we see that the Blackpill discusses paint a really dystopian future for men. I think it's undeniable. You can't deny the statistics. All you could do is kind of try to cope your way into believing that men still have a chance, there's just no real comeback from these statistics.
Okay, I think that you guys are okay. So those are your final words. I don't want to interrupt you. So is there anything more? What's your conclusion? Is that it?
The Blackpill is growing, and more and more men are out of a woman's looks threshold today. Today's women's standards are increasing such that more and more men are becoming incel and left out of the dating market. It doesn't matter how much game men have. When women's standards go up, game is not enough to save men.
Right. So, okay. So my closing thoughts, I guess this is the first time I've ever done like as if this is like a trial and I'm doing closing thoughts, talking to the jury. But my closing thoughts are this. I think the Blackpill community heavily overblows these statistics. And for example, one of them was you guys were talking about, it's like way more men are being born than women. But as we look to that study, which again, I'm not even sure if that's true or not. I think it might be biased. It's only five more men than women. So that's not like a massive amount of men are going to get fucked if we lived in the perfect society. Now, I think that the Blackpill community does get some things right. I just think it heavily overblows them. And I think that the solution the Blackpill community proposes is kind of depressing. I think it's a lot easier to just give up and say, fuck this. The odds are stacked against me. And the odds might be stacked against you. And I think that the Blackpill community is really pissed off because they have been, not had the kind of success they wanted in the past. And they're tired of not getting the kind of dating life they want. I don't think the solution is to say, fuck it. I have no control over this. This is outside my control. The world is fucked. And it's the same thing when I see with money. Like you see, like if you look at the statistics with money, more people, like the money, the wealth, gap has gotten bigger and bigger, like in recent times. Like the top, 0.1% have more money than they ever did. Right? You can look at the statistics when it comes to money and say, shit is fucking hard out there. Like, it's hard for us to, for anyone to be a successful, businessman if you weren't born into a family of money, if you didn't have that, successful, upbringing, blah, blah, blah. But you can still become rich. So should you sit there and give up and just settle for a fucking 9-to-5 job? In my opinion, no. I think you should still try to be a successful business person, even though some of the statistics are fucked against you. You can look at other statistics and they can be very encouraging. Like, for example, it's never been easier now for a guy who has his online shit handled, who has some dope photos, who's not obviously horrible looking, but who's at least somewhat decent looking, who has dope photos, to order pussy like pizza. Like, you couldn't do that 20 years ago. Like, it's never been easier.
What do you mean? Actual prostitution?
What?
What do you mean actual prostitution?
No, I'm not talking about prostitution. I'm talking about order pussy, like on Tinder. Like, you can order girls to come straight to your house for fuck dates, which I've done many times. I have like many videos on this. So again, I just think it depends on what statistic you look at. Again, going back to the money example, you look at the statistics of the wealth gap. Yeah, of course, it looks very depressing. But like, you know, you look at all the other things about how many people are able to, you know, make a successful business who came from a family of nothing, and how some barriers to entry have been lifted with the rise of the internet. And the statistics are encouraging. So I think, in my opinion, we're just going to end it off here because I think we can keep going back and forth.
Yeah, and
the Blackpill community
you ended on had nothing to do with the dating market.
I'm trying to make an analogy. I'm making an analogy. I'm making an analogy between the, you know,
you make analogies like halfway through the call, not like in your closing thoughts. Your closing thoughts should be like close to the point and summarizing.
Well, it's my motherfucking channel, so I'll make my closing thoughts. I'm not trying to be rude here, but like, dude, like, you can't come on a person's channel and ask them how to run a podcast. Like, I've been very lenient and like allowed you to come on my platform and make your points. I haven't interrupted you. I've been open, like, but you can't tell me, oh, you can't do this. It's my live stream. Like, I'll do it the way I want to do it. Like, I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate the discussion we've had, but like, no, man, like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. So anyway, I think that, you know, that's kind of my conclusion. I think, you know, whether take it or leave it, but I do think that, you know, again, I think the Blackpill community is 100% wrong? No. You know, have I attacked you guys, you know, personally? No, which I would not do. I think you guys actually have some, you know, data, you know, that is pretty interesting. But again, I just disagree with a lot of your conclusions. So anyway, so FACEandLMS, how can they find you? How can they support your, you know, research and your work?
Email.
Okay, email. So
sorry, what was the question? How can you?
No, how can like so how can they
support your work? He was like referencing like if you got a channel link or
yes, if you on YouTube, I'm FACEandLMS. You can find all details about me through my channel. Okay,
awesome. So yeah, so check out his channel. He's got some interesting stuff on there. Thank you for coming on, man. This was an interesting debate. This definitely went quite different than you know, than he usually does, but that's okay. You know, I like to have these debates, and I think it's you know, it was an interesting experience. I don't think we change each other's mind, but I think that's okay. I think it's good to have debates and, you know, talk to people who think differently than you. So, all right, man. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, man. I highly encourage you to take up that guy's offer. I'll connect you in the email. I think that'll be an interesting experiment. And to the caller, sorry, I don't know your name, but yeah, make a post in the forums. I'd be happy to look at that as well.
Is that for me, or is that for the one that you offered Face earlier?
No, for you. Oh, sorry. Was that a different guy? I've been going for 3 hours. I'm fucking brain dead. But yeah.
You was the one who was about the online dating thing.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, guys.
All right, your guest. Sorry, forgotten your name. Alex, your guest was the one. Alex, your guest was the one, or someone who texted into your show. He was the one that offered me the 3-month thing. I think you were the one that said that you wanted to speak to Wheat Waffles privately.
Right. Okay, you're correct. Yeah. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. This was a pretty epic debate, but yeah, it was fun. So thanks for tuning in. We have another live Q&A coming up on Tuesday. It's going to be completely different than this because we have my lover, Natty, coming on. So you're going to ask her questions. It's going to be Tuesday night at, I want to say, 9 p.m. All right, guys, have a good one.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay, I guess I could read some more super chats because I do appreciate them. But yeah, I don't know why people asked me to speak to him, because that kind of went the way I was expecting it to go. Like no one was going to change anyone's mind. That was not going to happen anyway. But no one really cared about anyone else's point. He just wanted to like come back at you with something. So I think that was really pointless. So I'm not even sure if I'm going to keep the stream up. I might just hide it. I'll give people a private link to watch it, but I think it's kind of